Nick.
Hello. Hey, Elvis. What's up?
Wasn't what I was going for, but I will take it. Thank you.
Hey, Tys.
What's happening, man?
We're on the countdown, Tys.
We
We're on the
are.
countdown.
It's episode number 95.
95.
Which means we have 6, 7, 8. We have 4 more regular episodes to figure out what the hell are we going to do for our 100th episode.
That's right. And ladies and gentlemen, if you have an idea or if you would like for us to do something, hey, we're up for anything.
We are up for anything.
We don't have anything on the cards just yet.
No.
But hey, it could be something. It could be something grand.
It could be something grand.
We could just see Endgame.
True. It might actually just work out to be that way.
We might have, it's just spitballing here. We could have Robert Downey Jr. on the show.
Oh, man, I told you not to give that away just yet.
Sorry.
It's the big news.
Or Kevin Feige. Imagine sitting down with Kevin Feige.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell the people at home the name of our show, Nick?
Oh, it's called Nick. Hello, gang. Welcome to Nick Tyson Videotape.
Welcome.
My name is Nick. This is Tyson.
Hey.
We are here for your weekly entertainment of film. We like to talk about film.
We do like to talk about movies.
When someone says, "Do you review things?" We don't really review them.
We don't review stuff.
We talk about them.
It tends to be you can call it a review. It's more like a
love-in.
It's or if we like the movie, it's a love-in. It's a long form discussion around a particular film.
Sure.
And we also take the time to talk some shit about some other stuff as well.
Yeah.
Episode number 95. So you've got 94 other 2-hour chunks of goodness to consume at your heart's content.
Exactly. If it goes over 2 hours, we like the film.
And that's it.
But yes, we are called Nick Tyson Videotape. So thank you for listening in. And if you would like to rate, review, star, subscribe, please do so on iTunes or anywhere that you are listening to us. We'd much appreciate it, even if it is YouTube. But other than that, we are on all social media platforms, which is Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I said YouTube already. But yes. And if you would like to write us an email, we are at nicktysonvideotape@gmail.com.
That is exactly right. You can find us in all those different ways.
All of them.
We will eventually get back to you through one of those formats.
Exactly.
At some point in our lifetime.
We will. But this is a buy request, if I'm not wrong, Tyson.
It's a buy request slash.
Oh, that's right.
It's on our list. So today we're talking about the 1988 female-driven friendship / romance, I guess.
Sure.
It's the female equivalent of a bromance, I guess. Beaches.
Beaches.
Yeah, directed by Gary Marshall, which I didn't realise until we sat down to watch it.
Yeah.
Gary Marshall.
Couldn't
get a girl for this one? Couldn't get a female director for this one? What are they thinking?
Well, it was the 80s.
Yeah, good point.
They were just allowed to vote.
Penny Marshall. Oh, God.
I'm fucking kidding.
Penny Marshall, Nora Ephron, they're running around.
They're still doing stuff.
Right up their alley.
Exactly.
Well. Not really.
Well,
RIP.
they're doing stuff. Exactly. But yeah, I didn't know that Gary Marshall. I only know Gary Marshall from his role in League of Their Own when he plays the Chocolate Man.
Yeah.
He's not a chocolate man. He's the guy who puts the money up forth to make their all women's league of baseball.
Of course.
But yeah, that's all I know him from. I don't know him from anything else. Gary Marshall.
He's directed a few things.
He's directed things that I know and seen, but I didn't know that he did those things.
Yeah, right.
I did the research for this.
He's he's not particularly distinctive directorial style of Gary Marshall.
Yeah.
But we will get to all that and more
later,
very shortly. But I think before we do anything else, Nicholas,
let's talk some trailers.
Yes, let's do that.
All right.
Everybody's talking trailers.
All right. Well, where should we start, Tyson?
We're going to talk a couple of different trailers today. We've got a few to get through.
Yeah.
Why don't we start with...
Let's start with Toy Story.
Okay.
Toy Story 4?
Toy Story 4.
Toy Story 4.
Everyone, Bonnie made a friend in class.
Oh, she's already making friends.
No, she literally made a new friend. I want you to meet Forky.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Ah!
He's a spork.
Yes, yeah, I know. Forky is the most important toy to Bonnie right now. We all have to make sure nothing happens to him.
Woody, we have a situation. I am not a toy. I was made for soup, salad, maybe chili, and then the trash.
Buzz, we've got to get Forky.
Affirmative.
Why am I alive? You're Bonnie's toy. You are going to help create happy memories that will last for the rest of her life.
Huh? What?
Oh, yeah. Bo? Forky, come on. Bo?
Hi there. My name is Gabby.
We can't stay.
Yes, you can. Boys. Woody, behind
Bo! What are you doing here?
you! No time to explain. Come with me.
We need to get back to our kid.
Aw, Sheriff Woody, always coming to the rescue.
Bonnie needs Forky.
Woody, who needs a kid's room when you can have all of this?
Wow. Woody, aren't we going to Bonnie?
Okay.
Well, it's here, Nick. We had we had seen a couple of teasers.
You got like a thing that wasn't maybe in the movie.
Yeah. Which we
fine.
always like. They're always a bit of fun. And we announced now we've seen an idea of the plot.
Yep.
We've gotten a really good kind of encapsulation of what they're going for with this.
Yep.
It's a brand new trailer. It released maybe 12 hours ago or so.
That's
I think.
true. That's true.
Nick, what were your impressions of this?
Well, I'm starting off already, which I've if our audiences, our regular listeners know, I'm starting off on the wrong foot on this already because I feel that the trilogy is complete. I think it's finished.
Yeah.
And I really think they should be putting money into something else. But in watching this, hey, sure. You know what? I'm going to give it a watch. Only because there's got to be a reason why. Every time, and I've said this before, every time that Pixar has done a sequel, be it Monsters, Inc. or... what's another one I can't think of right now? Even
Incredibles 2.
Incredibles 2.
Cars 3.
Yeah, but those... Ratatouille 6.
Yeah.
No, every time they've done... Like, I wasn't a big fan of Monsters Inc. 2 when it got announced. I was like, no, don't touch it. It's fine. It's perfect. And I actually really loved Monsters University. Incredibles, on the other hand, that was like one that you could just... It was made to be a franchise. Like, this thing could have 5, 6, or 7 sequels, and that's fine.
And it took so long that it was almost a little bit underwhelming.
Exactly.
Here.
So I wasn't a big fan of it. It was good, but I was like, oh yeah, it was fine. To be honest, I'll watch the first one. But this one, I was like, okay, well, but I'm going to give it a watch. So maybe it could be good.
Yeah, I agree completely. Like, we have this perfect trilogy that exists now.
Exactly.
And so when we kind of say, oh, hey, we're going to do another one, it's not so much a matter of what is the and what the quality of the film will end up being, because it will be at least a certain quality, because we know that the people that work at Pixar are generally very good at their job.
That's
I mean,
true.
I think based on what we've seen of their work, we can only say that they are very capable of telling an excellent story. So
Exactly.
It's not even a matter of whether or not this is going to be a good movie or not. I think it's about how does it fit in with this perfect trilogy that we have, this perfect series of films.
Right.
What are we doing? Yeah. Are we adding anything, or are we
going back? Are we changing it up? Is it because I have heard rumors that it kind of changes things that you know already about them. Sure. And I don't know if I'm okay with that. I think it's fine. But yeah, like you said, what are you bringing? What are you? This is a team that we can trust. Of course we can trust them, unless it comes to Cars. You know what? I give Cars a bad rap. I haven't seen one of them. I'm going to watch them. But we can trust them. Let's trust them. They know we love this trilogy. What are they?
I don't think they would bother if they didn't have something really interesting to say.
It's not as if they need the money.
No, exactly. And to be honest, this trailer actually was not really what I expected.
Yeah.
It seems like it's... I mean, this is obviously just first impression, so it's really hard to tell. But it feels like it's going a little bit more mature in its themes.
Okay.
I think it's almost like Woody's having a bit of an existential crisis about what does it all mean to be. Obviously, to be a toy, but obviously that has bigger implications in that universe. Is that the role of a toy in the upbringing of a child and
is very important.
And where is the happiness? Like, what does he sacrifice as a living creature, in air quotes?
Sure.
What does he sacrifice for the life joy for somebody else? And I don't know. I'm just getting these vibes from it that it's actually going to be quite it's going to have a bigger focus on some grown-up kind of issues.
Yeah.
Kind of the way number 3 was heading. Like, I think number 3 was all about growing up.
Yep.
You know, and all about what happens when you outgrow your toys. What happens when you are too old for childish things. And I think the movie, the movie did a really great job of telling us that you're never really too old for that. You put them in a place in your heart, and they're always there.
Exactly.
And so this one, it's kind of it's looking at it from a different angle. It seems like it's looking at it from like Woody's point of view. Is that how many times does he go through that? And we're obviously we'll put that onto represent anyone else's lifetime.
Exactly.
Do we put the happiness of others before our own? Blah 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 blah.
Exactly.
I don't know, man. I kind of got some really
Okay.
I got some
Really?
deep vibes from that trailer. Yeah.
Was it just the Bee Gees, or was it? It was the Bee Gees. Was
Beach
it?
Boys.
Sorry, Beach Boys. Damn it!
How deep is your love? Is your love? How deep is your love? Oh, Woody's chasing around the streets. Yeah. Look, I mean, play the Beach Boys in a trailer, especially play God Only Knows in a trailer, and you've got me hooked. Like,
Really? God Only Knows is Love Actually for me.
Oh.
Yeah. No?
No.
I know, you're not a fan. That's fine.
I mean, God Only Knows is the Beach Boys for me. It's basically,
really?
it's just one of the greatest songs ever written. And so, I think it was used pretty effectively in this trailer.
It was. It was used very well.
Yeah.
It was used very well.
And
All right.
it brought a kind of emotional it brought the emotional focus to it, where at first I was kind of thinking, hey, am I just reading too much into this? And then that started playing. I was like, I think I might be on the right track.
Yeah. Yeah.
I liked Forky as well.
You like Forky?
Is that his name? Forky?
I think so. I really want to know why Forky's so important. Because it was such a big, like that's how the trailer starts off. Is in the third one, all the toys were given to this little girl and she's made a toy, and it's very important to her. I want to know why. I need to know why now. That's how they've hooked me. They haven't hooked me on the existential. What am I going to do? You know what? Maybe I shouldn't have to be responsible for these children's upbringing. Or, how important I am as a toy. Maybe I can go live with Bo in some other.
And I think it's telling that it's Bo Peep because obviously it's only played very small amounts because it's a kids' film, but they have a romantic relationship in the older films. And so I think it's telling that she's the character that's kind of leading him to his own happiness.
Yeah.
And
we had a Bo. Was there in 2 where it was like, we've lost some people, and you look at, wasn't there a shot of Bo's? What is it? It's not a staff. It's a sheep herding thing. But yeah,
fetch me my sheep herding thing. I can't recall for exactly, but
I think there was.
Was she in the third one?
No, she wasn't in the third
Okay.
one.
No. Do you know Keanu Reeves is doing a voice in this?
Oh, is he?
I'd like to know who he's voicing.
He's going to be a little Matrix figurine.
Oh, that'd be amazing. A little mini Neo.
Little mini Neo.
Or he just kind of goes, whoa. Yeah, maybe he plays like a surfer doll.
Yeah, I'd be cool with that.
So look, it didn't set me alight. Like, it wasn't the kind of trailer that I was like, oh my God, I'm definitely in now.
Yeah.
It just kind of did some things that I found kind of interesting and thought maybe they are going slightly more mature with this. And they've, if you look at the trilogy on the whole, it does kind of follow a trajectory similar to, like, let's say the Harry Potter movies, where the focus starts young, and as the audience grows up, the focus changes as well. So maybe we're going further now, and it's a movie it is obviously made for kids, but with a focus where it can talk to people of, let's say, our age and maybe within 5 to 10 years younger, who were kids when the first one came out. Because I think
95 was it 95? Yeah.
So there's about 10 years there for us, I'd say, because we were 12, 13 when it came out.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's say 6 kids that were 6 to about 15 in that time are now our age within 5-10 years, and so maybe it's going to be talking about things that
what they're doing, what they're up to, and
things like
that are more in tune to them.
Yeah.
I
don't know.
All right, we'll give it a watch.
We will give it a watch. It could just be dumb fun, and I could just be reading way too much into it. But
doubt it. Not with it. You think a Pixar film is going to be dumb
you're
fun?
right. You're totally right. Well, Monsters University was kind of just silly fun. I mean, it had some things on its mind. No, but it did it super well. Yeah. It did what it did very well. It was super entertaining.
Exactly.
But it had less on its mind than some other stuff.
Oh, absolutely. It still had the story in there. Even if you're the little guy, you still can make it. You can still have an effect.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. Let's
moving on. Let's do the Headhunter.
Let's do Headhunter. The Headhunter.
I always thought I could protect her. What took her from me is still out there. dimensions, I suppose.
Okay, this trailer kind of just came out of nowhere. It might not end up being a super popular movie, but we wanted to talk about it because it's a great trailer.
It may even just go straight to streaming, and I'm fine with that.
I'm fairly certain it will here. I don't think we'll see a cinema release for this here.
Yep.
But holy shit, what a great looking trailer, man.
I know, right?
Like
Vikings, what would you say the premise is? So the premise is it's kind of set in Viking times.
Yeah, ancient medieval.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if it's...
Or the Dark Ages or whatever.
Yeah, I assume it's in our reality, but I mean, obviously, because there's monsters, so it could be kind of like an alternate reality of some description.
Yeah. It's very dark, I was trying to pick where is this being shot, because it looks like a New Zealand that is just flipped on its head and scary as hell.
It's some kind of tiny European country that still has a whole heap of just open land
and castles.
And castles.
You would totally believe
because you're not buying you're not building castles. No. I mean, this movie does not have building castles budget. You can see that. So
does any movie have building castles budget?
Oh yeah, I reckon.
Really?
I reckon. But it's like those old like Full Moon Pictures. Remember Full Moon Pictures?
No.
They did like the subspecies movies and the trances, and they did some like B grade kind of fun stuff in the 80s and 90s. I guarantee you've at least seen one or two of their movies.
Oh really?
And what they used to do is just go they'd film their movies in these tiny like European countries,
right,
where there were just castles sitting around. So they'd go and film their vampire movies in real castles because it made for really great atmosphere.
Full pass.
No, they're really great. There's some really... I've seen the subspecies
No, I'm saying
movies.
full pass because it's scary as hell.
Oh, yeah, no.
Yeah, fuck.
Could you imagine working on one of those?
No, thank you.
Terrifying.
No, thank you. So medieval warrior, and his daughter dies from this monster or something. When I first watched the trailer, I thought he was just trying to keep her alive, but watching it again, no, the monster has come and taken his daughter, whether she's died or whatever, and he's hunting down this monster. And it's just him.
Yeah, it appears
it's like
as though it's going to be a solo. There's not going to be another character in this film.
I mean,
that's the vibe I'm getting. It seems like that will amp up the horror levels immensely, because
massively.
any horror movie you have that release when you see other people.
Yeah. You're like,
other characters,
I'm okay.
You know, there's that moment of, you come together and you're like, all right, well, for this little moment, we're still in danger, but at least I've got someone here with me. So you eliminate that completely. And I think for a viewer, that makes it really kind of like unrelenting.
Right.
In the horror elements of it.
I'm by myself. There's no cops coming.
Yeah, well, especially because it's the Viking era. So
there could be cops.
The fuzz will not be turning up. Yeah.
I'm all for this.
This is really great.
The atmosphere of the whole thing, the nail-biting thriller / horror / fantasy scariness.
Yeah.
Gory for the sake of gore. Bring it on.
It kind of reminds me of like if the 13th Warrior had have just been like that big blonde Viking against the whatever they were called in that thing.
Yeah. I remember watching that. I couldn't tell you a thing about it.
I've seen the 13th Warrior probably more times than a human being should have.
Jesus.
Yeah. I'd say at least 6 or 7 times.
You are an odd creature, Tyson.
I don't know why, man.
And yet I just found out that you've only seen Jaws once.
Yeah.
What the fuck, dude?
I know.
That's why you tune in, people, because you know that Tyson's got some weird things that he's listened to.
I can't defend any of that at all.
I love it. I only remember one scene of that when Banderas picks up a sword and he goes, "This is too heavy for me," and he goes, "We'll grow stronger." That's all I remember.
Great line.
Such a good line. We'll grow stronger. That's all you got.
Yes, and he does, and that's the plot of the movie.
Well done, everyone. Does he win in the end?
It's a weird kind of...
How
there
does
is
it
a
end?
victory.
Can you tell me
I'm not. No.
Why not? I'm not going to watch it again. 13th Warrior from what? Was it like 2001?
No, I'm not spoiling 13th Warrior because it's an unknown... Like, it's one of those movies that
really?
I reckon people have heard of but never watched. And I will say...
No one has heard of this thing.
Yeah, they've definitely heard of it.
They haven't.
Okay. It's John McTiernan.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
All right, well, I guess I'm watching 13th Warrior again.
Yeah.
Am I really?
It got cut to shit a little bit, and I don't think he is too proud of it in the end.
The studio took over, is that what you're
Yeah,
saying?
a little bit.
Right. What is John McTiernan doing now?
I think he's still under house arrest or something.
Oh, fuck.
Maybe.
Right. And why was he under house arrest again?
I think it was tax stuff.
Tax evasion. The good old taxi.
Yeah, the good old white-collar criminal.
Nice.
John McTiernan.
He's still a man who has
I hope he pays his debt to society.
Predator on his belt?
Yeah.
Dude, first Predator.
Predator.
Let's do that next
Die
week.
Hard.
Fuck. Actually, no, we already got next week.
Yeah. One day I'd love to welcome John McTiernan back to the fold once he pays his debt to society.
Once he's done.
Exactly.
Done his dues. All right. Well, I'm going to watch the shit out of Headhunter.
Me too,
I really
man.
am.
And do you know what? I just looked it up on IMDb. Goes for an hour and 12 minutes.
Oh,
72 minutes.
All over
with
it.
credits, that's like an hour and 5 minutes.
You could watch this in a break, in a lunch break. If you
could watch
have
this
an
in
hour
your
break.
lunch break.
Fuck.
Ridiculous.
By the way, if you have an hour lunch break and you're listening to this, Nick says, "God damn you."
Who has hour lunch breaks anymore?
People should.
Business people. No, an hour's too long.
No, I want to get some shit done.
True.
Get some shit done.
If you're one of those people that like to go to the post office and shit in your lunch break,
have a kip or something.
A kip?
Oh,
A nap?
I'd love a kip. Fuck yeah, I'm an old man.
This conversation took a turn.
All right then. Go down the pub for a beer.
What was I going to say?
Imagine that.
You could start watching this movie at 11:15 and be done before midnight.
Right.
That's amazing.
That's out of this world.
Yeah. So instead of watching
Doesn't
another
happen
episode of fucking what's My
Game
Kitchen
of
Rules,
fucking Thrones, because you're catching up on what's about to be
you
the
could
biggest
watch this
TV
great movie.
event of the year.
Well, yeah, I'm missing that.
You're missing
completely,
that? You're
yeah.
not going to do it?
No.
Wow, you have no interest.
I checked out. I checked out a couple of years ago.
Yeah, fair deal. Was it with the year that Jon Snow died? Spoilers for Game of Thrones.
Jon Snow dies.
He does.
Oh no.
Oh please, he
No,
fucking
I
comes
knew
back.
that.
As if he fucking comes back.
I think it might have actually been the start of that season.
Yeah, that was the worst season.
that I gave up on.
Yeah. When he died, it was the end of that season. Turned it off and just went yawn. Big fucking deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, it's a I'm not going to shit on Game of Thrones because it's like it looks wonderful. It's pretty incredible storytelling.
Most expensive TV show ever made.
But man, when you check out of a show like that and you know that every time, it got to a point where sitting down to watch it was becoming such a chore because I knew
Really?
that it would be an hour and 10 minutes or whatever it is each episode before I could do anything else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I just got to this point where every time I'd sit down, I'd prefer to be doing something else. And I was like, that's a good sign. I think I'm out. I think I'm checking out.
I'm out.
So
fair deal.
I'm done.
All right. Game of Thrones, everyone.
So I'll just watch The Headhunter instead.
Yeah.
That was our Game of Thrones episode.
That was our Game of Thrones
Just then.
episode. Yeah, that's all we're doing.
That's all we'll ever do.
Literally
on
all we're
it.
doing on Game of Thrones.
Let's move on, Nick.
Do we have one more?
We do have one more.
Oh, we do have one more. What are we talking
It's
about?
Avengers Endgame.
God, seems like 1,000 years ago. I fought my way out of that cave. Became Iron Man. Realized I loved you. I know I said no more surprises, but I was really hoping to pull off one last one.
The world has changed. None of us can go back. All we can do is our best. And sometimes the best that we can do is to start over.
I saw all these people die. I keep telling everybody they should move on. Some do, but not us.
Even if there's a small chance, we owe this to everyone who's not in this room to try.
We will. Whatever it takes. Whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes.
Now, why
All right.
did you miss the claw?
Why did I miss the claw?
The Endgame title.
I'll get you next time, Gadget. Next time.
Do you know that
an interesting
Mr.
reference.
Claw is also my
Who disturbs my slumber?
I feel it could be that. Is it the same voice actor? Isn't it that? What's his name?
Be.
Isn't it that Frank Weller or whatever?
I have
Welker?
no idea. I haven't looked it up. Should I look it up now? I'm going to look it up.
It might be the same guy.
Is it really?
I think anytime that voice gets used, because didn't he voiced like one of the Decepticons as well?
Yeah, I remember that. Inspector Gadget.
Here we go. This is why the people tune in.
That's
Nick,
why they do.
Is because they want to hear us
Google
IMDb
shit. Well,
old voice actors to find out if they're the same
fact,
guy.
Frank Walker. Yeah, this is him.
Welker?
Yeah. I know for a fact that this is people tune in for this because they're screaming down. They're like, yes, it is him. I know that they are. Jesus, this man has done.
I feel like Frank Welker.
800.
Oh, you're going to be there a while.
Fuck me, man.
He's the hardest working voice actor in the world. I'm pretty sure he also did the
scroll to the 90s
in Transformers as well. I think he might have done them himself. I have this weird idea.
Were you talking about that noise?
I have an idea that he does he's like a Michael Winslow of cartoons. Like he just does all those weird effects as well.
Oh my god. Okay, hang on, wait. Oh, he was in Virtuosity.
Oh,
special vocal effects. How did you know this shit?
Frank Welker, he's an institution.
He's an institutional man. Oh, he voiced Tank Girl. Where's Aladdin? Come on. Aladdin.
I think you might have to go to Aladdin instead of scroll down to 1991, 92.
Oh, thank you. I'm in the 90s.
92.
Man's Best Friend. Do you remember that?
That horror movie about the dog.
Horror movie with the dog?
What he would have done like the Barks or something, I bet you. The
Seriously?
robot dog Barks.
I need to Google this bastard and just YouTube the shit out of him. Oh my god, he was the Cape of Wonders. Tyson! And this is why you fucking tune in, people, because not only did me just doing that, he was Dr. Claw from Inspector Gadget from the 80s, and he was the Cave of Wonders.
There you go. So you by doing the same voice for both those things, you were actually 100% correct, because it is the same fucking voice.
It is the same guy.
He did, yeah. He's got a few tricks up his sleeve, and that is definitely one of them. He's
tricks. The man is a genius.
Low grumble.
He's a genius, man. All right, moving on. We're talking about Endgame.
We are.
Endgame. Tyson, a lot of people I know in circles have media blacked out already. Yeah. Which is something that I am a big advocate of.
Yeah, it's time. I'm doing it now.
You're done?
I did hear something that has made me less worried about that. Is that the Russo brothers have only allowed 8 minutes of the film's footage to be available for promotional material.
Oh, I love that they've got pull.
So for a film that goes for 3 hours, apparently.
Why did Joss have pull? Sorry, keep going.
Yeah, I know. You think, well...
Come on, man.
See, I think we're in a situation now where, yes, Joss Whedon did exceptional work with the first Avengers film, but they were still kind of like...
Come on.
They were still worried about building their brand. They were still...
Bullshit, it made some serious bank Avengers. It pisses me off.
But they were still... It's the second album, man. It's like they had to work really hard to make sure it didn't disappoint. Whereas now, they literally know that they could not advertise a single thing from now on. They could run a 30-second spot with just the poster and the release date.
Correct.
And that would be it. And people will see it.
Is going to go
so when the Russos say, hey, we're going to choose what footage is available for promotional material, they're kind of at a point now where they're like, okay, we don't care. This thing's going to make all the money.
All of the bank.
All of the money. Like the Federal Reserve will just move to Marvel. To Marvel headquarters.
And Mr. Disney will just sit back, whoever the CEO of Disney is, I don't know his name anymore.
He'll Scrooge McDuck.
He'll just literally just Scrooge McDuck and be like, hello, how are you? Look at this. This is 10 grand in my hand right here. I'm just going to burn this.
No, it's just like he sleeps on like gold bars.
Jesus Christ.
Makes a throne out of gold bars.
A throne.
Yeah. Do they still do that, or is that just what I learned from Die Hard with a Vengeance? And I've never gotten it's never gotten out of my head. They don't use gold bars anymore.
I don't think they use gold bars. I think it's literally just Bitcoin, and that's it.
It's just like it's a line on a computer screen that just tells you how much money each country has. Yeah,
and that's it. Yeah.
So
Endgame.
We're not seeing much new footage.
Exactly, and this is why I started off with a lot of people saying that it's media blackout. And I'm a big fan of that. This you can watch wholeheartedly, and it's not going to give anything away.
No, it gives nothing away.
I love what
it gives.
This.
I think there's one element.
No, but you knew that was going to happen.
Yes, we knew that Tony Stark and Nebula was somehow going to reteam with the rest of them.
Exactly.
Because what kind of movie are we going to have if
Tony dies in the first 5 minutes?
Yeah, they have to at least make it off the spaceship that they're stranded on.
Iron Man runs out of air. End of movie.
Yeah. Credits. It's like that bit in Vice where the credits rolled halfway through.
Oh, Jesus.
So
I really liked that bit. That was fucking.
It was really strange.
It was gold. I did like it.
I did have a giggle.
I did like it.
So yeah, but other than that, we've just kind of got similar footage. We've got more. It's more conversational based. We get a lot of flashbacks.
We
get
a lot of flashbacks.
Which is, they're really, really going all out with setting this as the end of this iteration of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Like, it's like everything post this point will be a different ball game.
Yeah.
They want it to be a reflection. They want it to be like,
they're going to flip it on its head.
Yeah, it's
Literally
like
the whole
it's like the big season finale.
Yeah.
It's how everyone felt on the very ever last episode of Sopranos or fucking Breaking Bad or something.
Sure.
It's that whole let's think about everything that's happened up to this point.
Exactly.
All 20 movies that'll be at that point, I guess.
Yep.
Or 21, maybe. Am I missing one? Who knows? Who will ever know? How will you ever know? And so they really want to make it more than an event than Infinity War was. This is the end of this version of it. So,
game.
Yeah, I love the whatever it takes repetition. I love, it feels so emotionally driven. Like,
do you think that? And I'm only going to do this visually, so that people who haven't seen it don't give it away. Do you think that when Cap does this and we see that shot of him, a lot of people think that that's the end? A lot of people are thinking that this is who's going to die. Who is going to die?
We're going
to lose some people.
We are going to lose some people, and that's okay because
is it though?
Well, because the stories evolve.
Okay.
I will be very sad to. But I mean, I think about it this way. I think about my favorite movies. Some of those characters only exist in those movies, and yes, in my memory, they go on to live a long, healthy life.
Yeah,
but I don't get to experience that, and so I won't. It just means that these characters, I'll no longer get to experience what happens post this point.
True.
And that's
Mini
storytelling.
cameo, maybe.
And who knows? They might pop up in flashbacks. They might come back. Anything can happen. We've now kind of gotten to this point where literally anything can happen in this universe.
Can I tell you my? Actually, no, I can't really say this. No, I can.
Yeah,
I can. This is completely hypothetical. I haven't read anything that is saying about this. This is me.
This is your wild theory?
This is my wild theory.
Yes, I love
Are you ready for this?
Shot in the dark. Here we go.
Shot in the dark. Here we go. Now, I know you haven't seen it, but that doesn't matter. I think one of the first people to die is going to be Captain Marvel.
No. Really?
Yep. This is Nick's take. I think it's going to be Captain Marvel, and her movies are going to be up until that point. So her movies are going to... So her sequel, which is coming out 2022 or something like that.
Okay, sure.
I think it's going to be after the first Captain Marvel. I don't think it's going to be anything after Endgame.
Right.
I think she dies in Endgame. I think that's going to be...
I would... I think the likelihood of that is low.
It is very low.
But I love it, though. I do love it because this is my...
I do have a concern.
Let's
change it up here. Come on, let's change it. Because the general consensus is that, let's say we kill off a couple of people and guess the norm thing is going to happen. Cap dies and guess who's the next captain? Guess who leads the Avengers?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I do have a problem with the fact that it is a brand new character that could potentially save the day for all these characters that we have loved for 10 years.
Yeah.
Obviously not all of them.
Yeah.
But...
Groot, fuck you. No, I'm kidding.
I meant at the time they were introduced. I love them all equally.
I know.
But you know what I mean? Like, I do that kind of rubs me the wrong way a little bit because I'm like, they deserve it. They do. And we as the audience, it'd lovers be a of those characters deserve to see them succeed, not have a brand new character come in and just be like, oh, I'm more powerful than you fuckers and get the job done.
Exactly.
So,
which is why I think, because she's the most powerful...
Yeah, it's not a bad move. It would actually
literally
be...
Thanos go, oh, hi, bang.
Bang. Yeah.
And she's dead just like Loki.
And look, like I said, anything can happen post that. She can come back later. But that's actually a great way to kind of really illuminate the threat and put the audience in a position where they're completely thrown off their bearings because they're like, oh,
shit.
Well, we were all kind of hanging our hopes on her.
She was the cavalry.
Now it's back to these guys. Yeah, exactly. She was the cavalry. It's like if the cavalry was arriving and just someone dropped napalm on them as they were riding in, and you're at the fucking Alamo.
No, what's the cavalry song? I forget the tune.
Yeah.
But full napalm. They're dead.
Yeah, and you're just hanging at the Alamo like, well,
great. I guess think we're all done here. Up to you, Cap.
So, that's not a bad idea. Not a bad idea.
Do you like
at
that?
all.
Do you like that?
I
thought of that myself.
I guarantee you someone else in the universe has made at least 3 YouTube videos about that theory because there is not a single thing that exists in the universe that does not have a YouTube video about it.
So true.
Look, we haven't really talked about this. We take any opportunity to talk about this movie. We love talking about this movie. I think the trailer was good. We got to see more Hawkeye.
Yep. I love his haircut. I don't care what you all are talking about. I think it's great.
Look, I dig it. It's just a good old fashioned mohawk with just a little bit more volume.
Yeah, man.
And it's got it's got a bit of a side thing going on as well, like just a little bit.
I fucking love it.
I'm thinking about going the Hawkeye for the opening.
I would love for you to go the Hawk.
I think I should do it.
Do the Hawk ties.
Because I'm one of the only people out there that's like, Hawkeye, he's the best. I love Hawkeye. Because everyone thinks Hawkeye is a fucking waste of time. I love Hawkeye.
He's needed.
Some of my favourite parts of Age of Ultron were Hawkeye.
Yeah. Are you kidding me?
So
awesome.
I'm on board. So I was thinking solidarity with my man Hawkeye.
And it's very clear, even with... oh no, you know what? I'm going to leave that. For people who media blackout, I'm not going to say what I was just about to say.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it's not a question. We're in day 1.
Yeah, well, we were just discussing earlier how are we going to do it? When are we going to go to the first session of all? Are we going to, because it does release the day before a public holiday in Australia? So do we want to go the night and maybe make an evening of it? Go on the public holiday?
What are we going to do?
Regardless, I think we can safely say that we will have both seen it and have a podcast released within probably about 24 hours of it being released.
That's very true.
Let's say 48 hours of it being released, which is great. So you'll be able to tune in almost immediately after seeing it, Australian and, worldwide listeners, and you'll get to hear our thoughts. So
yeah. We will have a spoiler, non-spoiler section like we did with
Yes, exactly. We'll have a non-spoiler bit to begin, and then we'll launch right into spoilers. But yeah, I'm pretty excited, Nick. It's only about a month away. Yeah.
Right.
How is it only a month away?
Strange again.
Of all the movies. Maybe the Ancient One will show up again.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe Baron Mordo.
I hope. I can't wait for Red Skull. That whole thing.
Red Skull's got to pay. It can't just be that.
You can't just have him in there and then just, he was just in there for no reason.
Red Skull reminds me of a potential Magneto to Professor Xavier relationship.
Oh, really? Really?
Red Skull and Cap. He could kind of go to him and go, "Hey,
have you thought of this?
I know you're the baddest of the bad. But you don't want this guy to win either."
You think he's going to ask him for advice?
No, I don't. I'm just saying, of all the villains, aside from Loki, obviously, because that's Loki's jumping allegiances everywhere.
Yeah.
Aside from Loki, I think Red Skull has the potential to be like a Magneto style, who knows that it's in his best interest. To defeat Thanos as well. He's the kind of one that would go, all right, I hate all you fuckers, but he's causing me some issues as well, and you're the only people that. So I will help you with this, but then we're back to
fighting. Yeah. I feel like the Red Skull for me is like Darth Maul. To kill him off was kind of a waste of a character.
Yeah.
You could have had at least, he's a Loki. You could have had 4 or 5 more.
Well, at least for now that we know that he might be trapped in some weird universe dimension.
A Cap with another Red Skull.
But we know that Red Skull is alive, so there's always the potential for the return of Red Skull.
Can't wait.
Bucky's got some unfinished business with Red Skull, doesn't he?
He does, doesn't he?
Yeah. All right, look, Nick, I think we should move on because we could talk about this for hours, and we got some feature prayers to talk, my man.
Feature prayers, all right.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
And now for our feature presentation. From the beginning, C.C. Bloom wanted to be a star.
That's the story of...
And Hillary Whitney was her biggest fan.
You're the best singer I ever saw.
You think I'm really, truly talented? If you're truly talented, I've told you this at least 8 million times.
And with a friendship that began 30 years ago at the beach.
You just happen to be the most fantastic person I've ever met in my entire life.
I am?
They shared good times.
The Times says C.C. Bloom's performance is both promising and purposeful.
And bad times.
Mark! Have a drink on me. I was a big hit.
Through it all, Hillary stood by her side.
Guess who got the lead in the Falcon Players' new musical?
I want to congratulate you for winning the Tony.
Did you see those 3 other broads gnashing their teeth? Ha ha, it was great, wasn't it?
Through marriage.
And I'll pronounce you man and wife. What'd you do that for?
It's the happiest moment of my life. I don't ever want you to forget it.
Through breakups.
You caught Michael with another woman?
Yeah.
And now you're going to have a baby all on your own? Having a baby without a father, am I being selfish? All great love is selfish.
And through their differences,
You did everything you said you were going to do. Everything.
You're smart. You're beautiful. You have hair that moves.
their friendship would last forever.
You're going to be my partner in this terrible mistake. Oh, I should have...
Touchstone Pictures presents Academy Award nominee Bette Midler.
But enough about me. Let's talk about you. What do you think of me?
Academy Award nominee Barbara Hershey.
You maniac!
Are you always like this?
No? Good. Then you can stay.
In a motion picture about relationships.
I'm a womanizer. You see, I'm not a liar. I'll see you back home on Monday.
You're lucky.
About laughter.
Go back, you brain-damaged bag of bones, or I'll have you gassed!
Hi, Marge. How's life treating you?
About life.
Could be dead. Nah. If she was dead, she would have dropped the bottle.
Beaches.
What a care.
Once in a lifetime, you make a friendship that lasts forever.
Did you ever know that you're my hero?
I don't know
Nick?
the next line. Shit, I got nothing. You everything. No, I got nothing. Damn it. You're everything I was meant to be?
I would like to be.
Damn it.
And I can fly higher than an eagle. Because you, Nick,
are
the wind beneath my wings.
Beaches, 1998.
1988.
What did I say?
98.
All right.
All right, off to a fly. Yes, Beaches 1988. So we've got what we do have today. Yes, it is. It's our first mashup of two of our categories.
That's true.
We had a buy request.
No, I think we've done this before with horror movies, didn't we?
I don't know.
Anyway.
We might have had it on my list that was also Everything Old is New Again, because we hadn't seen some of them. But
yes.
Yeah, so it's on our list, volume, who knows, 6 or something now, 5 or 6. I'll have to double check before I post the episode.
Yep.
Neither of us had seen Beaches before.
No.
It is my girlfriend Rachel's favourite movie.
Oh, really?
And
just all-time
favourite movie. And she requested it of us
in
a very not subtle email, which was...
Not so. It was in all
do
caps.
Beaches.
It was in all caps, Trump style, going, do Beaches.
Trump Twitter style.
Trump Twitter style.
Do Beaches.
Do Beaches. That's gold.
Mug.
Right.
And yeah, so we get to now...
Did you watch it with her?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely.
Oh.
And that was, that was a lovely experience because, I think it's... I think being able to share that with somebody who loves a movie so much...
It's huge.
It really kind of rubs off on the way you see the movie as well, I think, because you can see how much joy it's bringing the person that you're watching it with. And so that I thought it was a really lovely experience.
Did Rach watch it when she was little? Like she grew up with this film?
Yeah, absolutely. So this
Which
had
a lot of
history.
people did. Like a lot of my friends who say, you haven't seen Beaches? I'm like, no, I haven't seen Beaches. Like they grew up with watching Beaches.
Yeah, and look, we've, I don't think it's it's not a great shock to anybody that neither of us have seen this movie.
Yeah.
It's a movie it's marketed to a different audience than us,
Yeah.
It's the equivalent of like we had like a Stand By Me, I guess.
Sure.
Is maybe a kind of an equivalence, a movie about what it means to be friends.
Yeah.
And like that appealed to us,
Yeah.
And as in 1988 we were 6. We're not rushing out the door to see
Beaches,
a quiet drama with about a lifelong friendship between two women.
Yeah,
we're watching Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah,
exactly. It's and it's just kind of gone. We've gone through life and we've just never had the opportunity, I guess, to go. You know what? We should watch Beaches.
I've always wanted to, though.
Me too, and because it's always been that movie on the list.
Yeah.
Whenever anyone says, "Oh, what's the saddest movie of all time?"
Oh, really? They go
like
Beaches,
what's the movie that makes you cry more than anything? I've heard this answer so many times that it is Beaches.
Oh, that's nice.
And so it's always been in the back of my head. I'm like, and spoiler alert for Beaches, of course.
Yeah.
I'd always known that the Barbara Hershey character died.
Yes, right.
And that was basically the finale of the film.
I knew that someone died.
Oh, okay. You weren't sure which one.
I wasn't sure which one.
Interesting.
Yeah. I didn't know.
Well, I mean, I'm surely once she got the heart murmur.
Obviously, I knew.
You were kind of clued in. You're like, this could take a turn if she comes around and then Bette Midler gets like
shot or something like that.
When she's driving the car to meet her, she has like a massive car accident.
That's not cool. I was thinking that. Like when she got pulled over by the cops, I was like, oh no, come on. We don't have time
nothing
for this
happened
shit.
with that. Yeah, that was weird.
No, I liked that. I really liked that. I was like, this is the hurdles that she has to go through to get to her friend. It's not just an easy flight over. You know.
Yeah. So so it's always been on the list, and I'm very happy that I got the chance to actually watch it and to watch it with someone that cares so greatly about the film, because I think it's there are movies that you watch. Like, it's, I'm trying to think of an equivalent, something that I haven't seen that I've been told a bazillion times I need to watch.
Marley and Me. Everyone goes to that. That's their other. Because when you said, what is the movie that everyone cries of?
Oh, that's because of a dog, though, man. Like, I mean,
exactly. Everyone watches Marley and Me. I'm not going to watch it.
If there's anything to do with an animal, I'm a blubbering mess. Like, what can I say?
Exactly.
But
Milo and Otis, you were rolling, crying.
Oh, Milo and Otis.
I love Milo and Otis.
They killed so many dogs and cats making that.
11
I don't even want to think about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so let's say I'm gonna throw it out there and say something like, I've never seen Gone with the Wind.
Sure.
Right?
Neither have I.
I know I should see it at some point.
Yeah.
I feel like the experience of watching that by myself will never be as good as it would be watching it with somebody who I know
who
loves Gone with the Wind. Because I'll be able to see their enjoyment and I can check in on them. And if there's bits that I'm kind of like, this might not be working for me, and I can kind of be like, oh, but you obviously love this.
Right into it.
And you get that kind of momentum of it.
It's the energy in the room.
Yeah,
You're feeding
exactly.
off the energy in the room.
Exactly. So, I think it was a really great way to watch it for the first time.
Okay. Well, Sam watched it with me. She's seen it before many, many times. Or maybe a couple of times. I'm not sure. But yeah, she said, you've never seen Beaches. Oh my God, I can't wait to watch this with you.
Yeah.
So we watched it as well.
Well, there you go. So Nick, what's your overall impression of Beaches?
I don't know yet.
Right.
Yeah. How good is that? I literally wrote it. It was the first thing I wrote down. It's like, like watching it, I liked it.
Yep.
Okay. But yeah, I think it was a little built up for me. I think that's what it was. I think of hearing all of these things, that's not to say I didn't. I did. I really liked it. I liked it.
I enjoyed it quite a lot.
I laughed a lot more than I thought I was going to.
I found I found some of it very funny.
Yeah.
Really, really well delivered. A lot of the comedy.
Yeah.
And yeah, I definitely found it funnier than I thought I was going to find it.
I will say this though, had I watched it before my son was born, I probably wouldn't have maybe felt as much emotional pull as I did watching it, because that was where I connected. Because yeah, it's such a what did I write? It romanticizes the friendship so well with the letters and things like that. I feel like friendships like this don't really happen anymore, or even if they did. Do you know what I mean? Like these two kids met on a beach, literally hung out for 4 hours, and then became lifelong friends. Like, do you know what I mean? It was such a lovely meeting. It's an idealized view of what a friendship is, what potential friendship could be. Yeah. I think when you watch it, you kind of think of, well, who is this person to me? Right.
And I don't think there is one.
Yeah. It's like, it puts the friendship that they have is very high on that pedestal. Like I
think it's the kind of friendship that like we don't necessarily need, but we'd all love to have, I think.
Yeah,
we'd
absolutely.
all love it if we had that person because I would say, I think what one of the effective things in the movie, and this is only really clicking into my head now, is the way that it's so segmented, is that we can build our own friendships based on the points in their lives where they reintroduce to each other.
That's right.
So I had friends that I would say was similar to the way that they met. Like, we were just mucking around at a park, saw some kid, had a chat, next thing you know, besties, until 3 years later when you never see them again.
Sure.
So that kind of, those scenes represented that kind of friendship.
Yeah.
Then they disappeared for a while. They found each other again when they were young, and she had given up her, corporate life and
Yeah.
wanted to be like a, activist, and she was just a struggling actor. That becomes your young 20s friendship. You know what I
Exactly,
mean? So you
yeah.
can put a different person into that
Oh,
perspective.
So I
and
see
say-
what you're doing. Yeah,
or
yeah.
somebody that didn't have that relationship as they were kids, but knows that they met their best friend when they were 21 at uni,
Yeah.
or they stumbled into each other and had to live in this share house. That's where
I
it starts
like
for them.
that. Okay.
But then they disappear for a while, and then it says 30-year-olds when they're both married, and maybe that's how you met your
Or it's
best
a work
friend.
colleague or something like that. Or,
Yeah. So
Okay,
maybe
I
that
like
kind
that.
of segmentation
I like that. Yeah.
builds kind of like a familiarity, regardless of how you met your best friend.
Yeah, yeah. I like that.
Yeah. That could just
But
be.
what did you think of it, Tys?
I had a really good time, man. I actually had a really good time watching it. I think I think I have this review in my head for some reason. I remember I always used to assume that Beaches was a bad movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I had this review in my head from when I was young.
Yeah.
And I think it just popped up in the Herald Sun.
They used to reading reviews when you're fucking young.
I used to watch because remember, this is back like years and years ago.
Yeah.
You'd have like your Green Guide and your Hit Magazine and all those things that were in like the Age and the Herald Sun. And I would read them cover to cover every week.
Right.
And like I would,
And the
I'm shit you not,
Beaches review
I
stuff
would
with you?
read the TV guide. Hour by hour.
I remember that.
Channel by channel.
Yep.
Just to see what movies were on.
I totally did that as well.
And they would have
TV Week, man.
Yeah. Oh man, TV Week. Yeah.
Dude.
And they would have maybe 3 or 4 reviews, just little 3-sentence, not even 2-sentence reviews.
Yeah.
And I remember for some reason the one for Beaches, not the review itself, but the star rating has always stuck out for me, and it was 1.5 stars.
Right.
And so
Really?
yeah, and so
Shoot that review on me.
for all my life, I've always been like, "Oh, Beaches is not a very good movie." I don't know why that of all things that was one of
is
the
so gold that you
one of the
remember that
reviews that
shit.
it's just sunk into my brain.
Wow.
And I can see why people wouldn't like this movie. I think
Sure.
I think it's a bit of a shaggy dog movie in the sense that, but I think that is what gives it a lot of its charm.
What do you mean by shaggy dog? What does
I
that
think
mean?
it's got some problems.
Oh, okay.
But I think that adds to its charm. I
Okay.
think it exposes kind of like a vulnerability to the film which works in its favor.
Yeah.
I guess.
Okay.
Like it's just
Little bits here and there.
if
not
you
on
were
a
you
whole.
were a more cynical person,
Yeah.
you could pull this movie to shit.
Oh yeah,
I
of
think.
course you could.
But
But that's because if you were a cynical person, why are you watching Beaches? Like,
Well, I mean, that's-
this movie is not for you if you're a cynical person.
I don't entirely agree because I think cynical people can still have an emotional connection and find themselves surprised by an emotional connection.
Okay.
Because we've talked about this. We consider ourselves slightly cynical.
That's true.
To a degree.
Yeah.
And this worked on me completely.
Yes, but we come, and I was having a debate with a guy at work on this exact topic.
Yeah.
Is we come from a different.
We always want a movie
branch.
to succeed.
Exactly.
We never
No-
go into a movie wanting it to fail.
Not only that, we're coming from a point where people nowadays, which I've heard, I didn't realize it was a thing. People, if a movie is young or old, it should stand on its own merits. Yes, but we come into it going, no, this is the 80s. Okay, so maybe the budget wasn't that high. We take a lot of we know a lot of the elements that make the film.
Sure.
So we take that on board. You're not going to watch this movie knowing that it came out in 2018. And, you're like, oh, well, that was fucking shit. This came out in 1988, and you're like, no, it was the 80s. And it was a story about friendship between two girls, and it did quite well for what it was about.
Yeah, and like, so some of the elements to it that seem kind of, might not seem outdated, but might seem not as aware, that not self-aware.
Sure.
I think the movie lacks a bit of self-awareness.
Yeah.
But in 1988, that's just sincerity in their filmmaking.
Exactly.
We don't have that extra 30 years of filmmaking history that would then say, it's probably a little predictable. Like, it's a little... There's moments in it that it's like, of course she gets, of course they get sick, and the illness stuff is very kind of it's paint by numbers illness progression.
It's movie
illness,
and
and the conversations they have are all very similar to 1,000 other conversations that have been had in movie illness.
Yeah,
but it doesn't matter because it's 1988 and it existed in a time where that was its sincere goal, and it hasn't been
exactly
reflected upon yet 30 years later. So yeah. I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I had. I really enjoyed it, actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm with you in the sense that I don't know my ultimate takeaway of it yet.
No. I need to sit with it.
I do. Actually, yeah, it's funny. I think I'm surprised by how much I want to sit with it. Like, I just kind of... I knew it would be something.
Yeah.
But I didn't expect it to be a movie that kind of has just hung around a little bit. And yeah, look, I only watched it 24 hours ago.
Yeah.
But still... Like, I've thought about it multiple times today, and been kind of like, yeah, what do I think of that? What did I think of this bit? And bits that I thought I maybe didn't like, I'm now coming around on, and things like that. So it's having a weird effect on me.
No, actually, I'll save that for later. Can I just say,
yes,
at the start,
yes,
casting,
yes,
whoever cast this needs an Oscar. I don't know how to say. Is it Miriam?
Malin-Bialik
as
or something like
Blossom,
that. Blossom?
Yeah, Blossom as Bette Midler. Spot on.
Perfection.
Fucking perfection.
Unbelievably good.
That was so good.
Yeah.
And what an introduction. Smoking under the bleachers.
Yeah.
Amazing. One of the all-time introductions to a character in cinema, hands down.
Yeah.
Hey, you, what's your problem? What are you okay?
Great scene.
How good was that?
Yeah. I almost wanted it to start there. I don't think needed the... I like...
No. It was good. It was just setting it up.
Yeah, I don't know. I appreciate the format of it, the reflecting back.
Mm-hmm.
I also would have been quite fine with it just being chronologically told.
Oh, really?
This story, I think.
No, I like the reflecting back.
I don't like. I've got no great
really
issue
hurt
with it,
or help in any way.
I think I was more distracted by the unbelievably 80s version of Boardwalk, where I'm like, this is. So this is like Paul Simon, but like on 20 Valiums.
It was so just a cash version, wasn't it?
It was adult contemporary.
I was like, Jesus, this
if
is...
there ever was.
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of, did you ever walk through Maya in the 80s? That's what it reminded me of.
Yeah.
Like, they had areas where you could just sit on couches and shit. And I'm like, this is the kind of music that you would listen to in Maya.
Yes.
I'm like, I would walk through, my mum, and I'd go and I'd want to sit on those couches in the 80s and be like, this is awesome.
That recording was made for supermarket rotation.
Did you see that pianist's fucking shirt? I was like,
yeah.
Fuck, that is...
brilliant shirt.
Amazing.
Yeah,
so maybe I was just fucking fly. She's like, I'm out. I'll see you later.
And I like that bit, the moment where it was just like, no, nothing else matters right now, and so we get to have that opportunity to say, well, what is it that is so important?
Exactly.
That we.
I think that's why it was needed.
Yeah. And look, I understand it. It's not a bad choice at all. I think I love the scene with the kids so much that it's kind of like I'm in. You had me then.
But for me as well, it also that first scene you kind of reflect on it later because she's not. Cece is not her character. Is not one to drop everything. When it comes to her career,
no, you're right.
Very easily,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
Especially
she's very often put her career in front of her, other people's.
Whereas this
happiness.
is a completely different kettle of fish.
Yeah, for sure. Those two kids, they're quite good actually.
Oh, they were really good.
Yeah,
they were really good.
And nice child performances. Nice little, just a really nice, believable energy between the two of them.
Yeah.
And it just forever sets up their relationship, I think, really well. Like, just the dominating fucking whirlwind force that is Cece.
Yeah. So good.
Complementing... fuck.
You don't know my name? Rachel's
Jesus.
Gonna kill you.
Well, I mean, it kind of goes to what their characters are throughout the whole movie. Like, you remember Cece's name.
Exactly.
Because
Hillary Whitney.
Whitney, that's it. Hillary Whitney,
yeah.
Because she's so dominating a force. Like, she's always so prominent and just so in your face the whole time that, of course, you remember Cece's name.
Of course. But that's their character dynamic. Like,
exactly.
Yeah.
The kids are great.
But
I think the casting all over is really great. It was so nice to see John Hurd, I thought, as well.
Yeah, man.
R.I.P.
He was looking a bit thin for me. I'm used to... a bit of a
stockier John Hurd.
Hurd.
I just like he plays it all really lovely. Like he was just so believable. He wasn't showy. He was just doing a thing, and I really enjoyed what he was doing. I thought he was great. And I don't see him in enough stuff. I haven't seen enough of his movies to really like. It's he will ever be Mr.
Kevin McAllister's dad.
Yeah. What's his name though? Bill? No.
John
McAllister.
John McAllister.
Mr. McAllister.
Mr. McAllister. Let's call him Mr.
Yeah. So that was really cool to see him.
Peter McAllister.
Peter McAllister.
Wow, they don't say Peter in that movie
Probably
at
not,
all ever.
And then of course you get the two main characters.
That's true.
Barbara Hershey and Bette Midler.
Yeah.
I think Barbara Hershey is the MVP of this film.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, secret MVP. Really?
Yeah, I think she's the secret MVP. I think Bette Midler is great and is just
a tour de force.
It's energy, but it's Bette betting really? About the joint. Like,
yeah, and this is I was going to bring this up later, but do you think that, especially because when it came up as her producing, a slight, and I'm going to say this with a grain of salt, a slight vanity.
I wouldn't be surprised if she maybe read the book and said, "No, I want to play this role."
Yeah, and I want this to change, and I want this and this to happen.
Really gave it. You know, I even made a note that this movie should be about 20 minutes shorter because we don't need the musical numbers.
We don't know.
Some of them achieve a certain effect. Like I think the weird kind of like industrial futurist thing is funny because it's kind of hanging shit on you know that kind of theatrical piece.
Yeah.
But we needed a minute of it.
Yeah.
We didn't need the whole Brazier number.
No.
We needed like a minute of it because then we get that it's trash and they get to have the conversation with her about how she doesn't have the artistic integrity that she thinks she has. You know, we don't need the whole jazz number in the bar because she could just be singing a little bit. Someone goes to the toilet, you get that gag, and then she walks in.
God, that was a good gag.
Yeah, exactly. I love it when he just gets up and you're like, "What's this guy doing?" It's because he has to go on the stage to get to the bathroom. Love it.
So
those moments, I feel like, are where Bette Midler maybe took the reins a little bit and said, "Yeah, no, we're going to do a little bit more because it's me. Yeah. I'm going to sing
even
more."
Even the full boardwalk at the start, you didn't need that.
Yeah.
You know.
But and to some people that's fine. Like Bette Midler fans want to watch Bette Midler be Bette,
exactly,
and that's fine. I couldn't help but think. Not that I wanted anyone else to play the role, because I don't. I think, and I'll get to it in a second, why I think she's so effective in this.
Yeah.
I think for me, the points of the movie where I was least interested were the length of the musical numbers.
Okay.
And I was kind of like, yeah, okay, I'm ready for the story to continue now.
Yeah.
I've gotten what I need from these, but because it was Bette Midler, we get the whole thing.
Yeah, that's true. And it's not like it wasn't entertaining.
No, of course not. Of course not. But I couldn't.
You're like,
I couldn't honestly see where it was necessary from a storytelling point of view.
Good point. So yeah.
Because also, this is to go to the music tying in a little bit. I think they did a really nice job of tying in the "Glory of Love" song. That's the story of, that's the glory of love. The way it kind of, it's a recurring theme throughout their life.
So good.
Which I thought was really nice. And I thought there was more opportunities to do that. It would have been really cool.
No, I liked how it was. No,
not with that song, that song, but with other pieces of music.
Okay.
I think they could have, I would have liked to have seen them be a little bit more discerning with their song choices so that it was, if we're going to see a whole number,
right.
I would love it if the lyrical content or the song thematically had a bit of relevance.
Sure.
Would have been cool.
Or even trickled through at some point. You hear a bit of the theme of that song, and then we get the song. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Maybe if you want to do some score incorporation or something like that. But like that industrial, the problems with Reagan's America. Like you can tell, you would have seen 3,000 versions of that around the, in that it wasn't Reagan then. Sorry,
was it Nixon?
No, it was because that was when they were only like 20. So it was the 60s, late 60s at that point. Yeah. We'll get to that in a second. If that, I understand what they were going for with that.
Sure.
But it had no bearing on anything else in the story.
No.
It was just, look at this interesting kind of weirdly pretentious trash that theatre is in this time.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so true.
God, that was a long-winded way of getting around to the fact that it would have been, how interesting would it be to have somebody else play this role, though? Because it is so defined by Bette Midler's mannerisms.
Yes.
Like,
of all of those shows, you wouldn't. Are you saying that you can't see anyone else in those roles?
No, as in the role of Cece.
Yeah,
because this version of... I'd love to know what the author of the book... Or is it a book?
It is a book, yes.
Thinks of that performance.
Okay.
Because I can't...
Do you reckon they're even in there?
No, I don't. Sorry, I'm talking about the movie on the whole, not
right.
We're past the musical performance.
Right.
Her actual performance as Cece.
Oh, okay.
As an actress.
Yeah.
Because it is so Bette Midler.
Yes.
It's her mannerisms, it's her line delivery. I can almost guarantee 50% of those little throwaway gags are Bette Midler gags.
Just riffing, yeah.
Riffing and having a good time.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
What,
So how
different would Cece have been with any other actress played? Whereas, yes, I think other actresses could step into Barbara Hershey's role. Having said that, I think Barbara Hershey is excellent. I really, really think she does incredible work because she has to play
up to...
She's got to play against.
She's got to play against,
Bette. Bette is just energy.
Yeah, that's true.
100% energy.
She
and
does
it's
well.
all...
She hands it well.
I think Barbara Hershey does so well because she never tries to compete with Bette Midler's energy.
Yeah.
She just does what she does,
But don't you think that's how... The reason that works so well is because those characters are polar opposites of each other?
Yeah, I think that's definitely a part of it.
Yeah.
But as from an actor's point of view, some of their arguments, it takes a very disciplined actor to not
rise to
Bette
yeah.
and go, well, Bette's giving me 160.
Yeah.
I'm going to get lost unless I try to meet this.
Yeah.
So she's smart enough. She's smart enough to say,
no.
Yeah. Which I think is incredible acting choices, and I really, really loved what she did.
I'll pay that. That's good.
So Nick, I want to ask you.
Oh, yeah?
I have a question.
Oh, a question, yeah.
Yeah, well, it's not really a question. It's a discussion point. It's a discussion point.
Sure.
Because I want to get out of the way with early one of the things that I don't think worked exceptionally well in this film.
Uh-huh.
And that was the way it demonstrated the passage of time passing. I found myself confused a lot.
Really?
In the sense that they were telling me things about where I should feel in terms of how long their relationship has been going for.
Uh-huh.
But the only thing I had to take those cues were dialogue-driven things.
Yes.
So, I'd be watching, and I would assume that some time had passed. Yes.
Uh-huh. Yep.
And then they'll drop in a piece of dialogue that it's been 3 years, and I'm like, oh, well, shit, it didn't. I didn't get that impression at all.
Yeah. Okay.
So I wanted to ask you about the idea of how a movie does this well.
Sure.
So, or whether or not, for starters, if you thought this movie did it well.
It was, yeah.
And what it is, because I always go to Shawshank, right?
Yeah.
I think there is no better demonstration of time passing over the course of a movie than Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah.
And they don't really ever do it through dialogue.
No.
It's not like...
You have to be
there are
aware
moments of
that's
it.
What's happening.
Yeah. There are moments of it, definitely. But it's never... There's never really explicitly well, Andy, it's been 4 years now. How you feeling today?
It's not as if you see it on the jail, him crossing off numbers and things like that. No.
We just feel it. We feel the length.
See what's happened.
We just experience that somehow.
Yeah.
And I can't put my finger exactly why it worked so well in that, and I didn't think it worked super well in this.
Well, for starters, if you're comparing the two, if you are going to compare the two, I didn't mind. Let's just say off the bat, I didn't mind the jump in Beaches, how it jumped. But the first one was a hell of a thing to get used to. The fact that they went so long, they saw each other as kids, they wrote each other letters, but the fact that so much time had passed since the next meeting, it took me for a loop. So I was like, wow, that's a lot of time to keep writing those letters. And then in my head, while that dialogue is kicking over and I'm listening, I'm like, well, pen pals did exist. This is a thing of the past.
Yeah.
Facebook didn't exist, Maybe there were some phone calls. Maybe not. But getting used to that, once that first one had passed and then it had happened again, I was like, oh, okay, so this is a thing and this is how they're going to show.
Yeah. Look, I didn't mind the idea of it. Because I think you want to encapsulate the whole relationship, and that's the only way to do it, is to have big jumps in time passages. Well, I found kind of disorientating was that it was never really anything that about them. Like it never organically rose from the storytelling. It had to be directly referenced.
Like a hard cut, yeah.
Like it was like the one that stuck out the most for me was it's like she's a struggling actress where she's decided she doesn't want to be an actress anymore. Jump cut to her getting out of a cab and the guy's going, "Congratulations on your Tony." and I was like, okay, cool. Like, we've just given up on trying to make it feel organic now. You're just giving us big, giant signposts.
Going, time has passed.
Yeah. Which
3 years later, that sort of...
I almost probably would have preferred...
3 years later?
Like, maybe the years to come up instead of clunky kind of signpost dialogue.
But this is a good movie, especially a movie of this topic, to do it well. Maybe it is... Have it be, I don't know, either... Cece or even Whitney's character doing something that they always go back to at a certain time, be it go to the beach house or something like that. Something that they do and we know that time has passed because they're back there again. Does that
I know
make
what you
sense?
mean. Like, something like
that.
Something silly like we promise every 5 years we'll hang out at the beach house no matter what.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know,
something
blah, blah,
like
blah, blah,
that.
blah. Yeah,
or
I get what you're saying.
Together, it can be something on their own or something,
Yeah, sure. Because I think I found myself occasionally surprised by how long it was meant to have been.
Sure.
Because in my head, I was kind of trying to figure it out myself. I was saying, oh, well, I don't think it's been more than a year. And then it's been 7 years.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, shit, no, I didn't get that impression from the performance or the change in design or costumes. I didn't
Location
get get it from that.
Yeah.
It took kind of...
someone holding up a sign
very
and going,
unsubtle
you want a Tony?
dialogue to tell me that how much time had passed.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying necessarily that's a bad thing. If that, I'm not saying that it's because I can't figure out how else to do it. I can't figure out how it was so effective in a movie like Shawshank Redemption, where I feel like I'm as old as Andy at the end of the film.
Yeah.
I feel like I've been in prison with him for 30 years or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Whereas I didn't feel at the end of it that I'd been with them
for their life.
I didn't even know how old they were at the end because I couldn't sense it.
Yeah.
It didn't take away from the believability of the relationship
of
for
course
me,
not.
and the strength of they'd obviously been together for years.
Yeah, but I know what you're saying. Had they done it well, had they done the Shawshank Redemption time passing, her. Whitney passing away would have been that much more full on.
Look, I think her death works regardless.
Oh,
I think it's a really strong moment.
Adding sugar on.
It would have been, it would have been, honestly, it would have been the smaller moments. I think that would have been more effective for me.
Oh, okay.
Like the power of them seeing each other again after a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
Because I never really knew how long had passed. I just assumed it had been some time. I think maybe them seeing each other again or having those moments where it's like those reconciliation moments, I think might have been stronger.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
The one that sticks out to me now that you're saying that, and I didn't think about it until you said that. Remember when she's in the beach house and she's given up, and Bette comes to her and goes, "You can either live, okay, the moments that you've got left, or." If you're going to give it up, sort of thing. And only a good friend can come to you and say that. Only a person you can trust can go, hey, how about you fucking get up off your ass, sort of thing. Even if you are facing death, Yeah. And I knew their friendship by this point, where we're in the third act of the film.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not feeling that sense of... because I should be feeling both sides at this point. I should be feeling like Cece's character kind of wanting her friend to spend some time with her daughter. And not only that, I should be feeling the Whitney side coming off and being heartbroken as well because a friend is telling her to get off of her ass. So I'm not... friendship isn't that strong to me. Does that make sense? Because of that time hasn't passed?
I get what you're saying. And like I said, I don't think it affected how I felt about their friendship. It just kind of, it took away from that feeling that you have sometimes when you watch a movie that you feel the time, like you feel you've felt this connection that has gone beyond the running time of the film.
Yeah.
And I felt it to a degree, but I think that's the reason. I think there are certain reasons why I didn't feel it as strongly as I could have.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Having said that, I didn't doubt the friendship at any point, and I thought it was super.
I'm just saying
their
it would have been a
performance.
lot
It could,
stronger.
it maybe might have added another element to it, perhaps.
Yeah.
Yeah. What else? I want to talk. So, okay.
Oh, go on.
No, just tell me. Tell me, Nicholas. What do you think the significance of the beaches are?
Oh, okay.
Because they obviously want us to be. They want us to find significance in the beaches because they've named the movie
Beaches.
That's
true.
What do you think they're trying to tell us?
I don't know. I haven't really looked into it that much. Like I
haven't looked at a single thing. I've got no idea.
Like I really love that the friendship bookends at a beach.
Yep.
You know, they meet each other and then, you know, it passes on. But I don't know. I guess it could be, if I'm really looking into it, friendships are like a grain of sand. Knowing this coming now that I am, you know, as old as I am, people coming in and out of your life and, you know, holding on to that one friend in a grain of fucking sand in the beach.
Yeah, sure.
Maybe. You know?
Sure.
I feel like I'm clutching at straws.
No, that's as good as anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this is I've kind of you have to find something though.
Yeah,
you have to, because otherwise I wouldn't have called the movie that. It can't be just as simple as they met on a beach and then she died on a beach.
You don't know that.
So we'll
They
call it
could've.
beaches.
It was the 80s.
Well, it was 2 different beaches. Is it 2 different beaches?
It is 2 different
So that's why
beaches.
it's plural and not beach.
Beach. Because that's a DiCaprio film.
Yeah. I think that aside from...
I like it.
It provides some nice imagery. We definitely get, because there is something really kind of... You get to have those moments where you're reflecting on life and death while looking over a beautiful beach.
Yeah. I didn't like that end one with the sunset, and I think it's when Wind Beneath My Wings kicked in.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, oh, don't do it in this moment. Don't, because I knew it was going to happen.
Yeah.
And I thought, when it happens, I was going to be fucking full of tears, you know, and all that stuff. But when it happened, I was like, oh, no, don't do it now. No, not now. Do it at another part.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, for
Interesting.
me. Yeah.
Interesting.
Because I didn't want it, because I knew when it happened, the sunset hits and it rolls back down and you see them on the beach in those chairs near the house. And I'm like, and the daughter's playing. And I'm like, I get what you're going for, but it's not working for me.
Sure. Yeah, I didn't mind the I guess the montage that the song accompanies.
Yeah.
But yeah, I get what you're saying. There was a moment where I wanted their moment to breathe a little bit more.
Yeah.
Before the song kicked in.
Exactly. I wanted them to have a little bit more of a moment. Like
it didn't even require dialogue. I just liked the angle that we were on. I liked that we were away from them, kind of observing them from a distance because it was a private moment.
Yeah. And they're observing the daughter as well.
I like the daughter kind of had her opportunity, which is clearly her saying kind of some kind of goodbye and then saying, now go play for a little bit because I need to talk to Cece.
Yep.
And Cece just coming out, and I don't know, I felt like if maybe just let it breathe just for a second before the tune kicks in, but I didn't mind it. Like when the tune kicked in, it was kind of like, oh yeah, here we go, of course.
Yeah.
That was an effective moment. But yeah, I couldn't help but think, I was like, there must be some kind of significant to beaches, and all I can think of is like that idea of like you know, when people go, I need to go think about things.
Oh, like go walk on the beach.
It's like to go walk on a beach, like because there's something about the beach that gives its endless possibilities.
But it's also
something.
A sense of meditation as well.
Yeah. I get, and that's it. It's calm. Yeah. It's just you and the ocean.
But it can also be very fucked up as well. Like, have you been on a beach in the middle of a storm?
The sea was angry that night, my friends.
She was giving it all she got.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're totally right. Like, so I was just kind of like, all right, well, I suppose there must be like a peacefulness to the way that they see that the beach is kind of this place where there are endless possibilities.
Yeah.
Like it's you and the world, and you can just you'll never be burdened by everything else while you're at the beach. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you kind of lose yourself at the beach. Yeah.
And like it's like their safe space, I guess. It's their space where they can just be who they are or something. I don't know. It's like it's a nice thematic idea, and it kind of carries through pretty well. I like that they it's like the beach house. We go to the beach house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that beach house was on the beach.
It was beautiful.
That was a nice house.
Oh, Jesus.
Fuck.
So good. So good.
I was going to say something. I forgot what I was going to say. No, it's gone.
It's gone?
Oh, no. Okay, I have a little query.
Oh,
if you have,
query.
how old was the daughter in the end? What'd you say?
Oh, I would say 7 or 8.
Okay. At 7, okay, well, that's mature enough to... She would have had a conversation... This is what I would have liked. Would have liked a conversation that Hillary talking to her daughter about what's going to happen.
Sure.
That didn't happen for me. In that, not only do you get a nice conversation between a mother and a daughter about what's about to happen. The options, because I didn't like Bette saying... I did, and it worked. Bette saying, everyone wants to take care of you. You know, you are very, very loved, and you can go with anyone you want. If you want to go with me, that's great. You know, I did like that.
Yeah.
But I would have liked it coming from Mum. Only because it kind of... It makes it more poignant that she picks Cece and Cece knows her so well.
Yes.
So that, for me, was a little bit of a lost moment. Second, which, coming from father's point of view, why hadn't she worded her up to what happens if she does just drop on the floor?
Oh, yeah,
You know what I mean?
Sure.
Did she word her up at all that was going to happen? Because that scared the shit out of me. I was like, no, don't let it happen like this, that you just find your mum on the floor.
Yeah.
Oh, it killed me. And I guess, but this is the thing. And in reflecting, I was like, well, maybe it has to happen like this in order to...
Because movie,
you know.
There was the conversation where they were talking about the illness. You know, she was saying, "Oh, it's kind of like a virus," you know, blah 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 blah. So I think maybe it's meant to be implied that she was more knowledgeable.
Okay.
But yeah, I get what you're saying. There should have. I mean, in order for it to have a dramatic kind of weight, she needs to find her and scream and say, "I don't know what to do. Help!"
Which would have happened heaven as you know it anyway. But
but maybe in a realistic lifetime, you know, if it was just you and your daughter and you had every possible chance of dropping dead or passing out at any moment, there would be panic buttons everywhere. There would be, you know,
a nurse on call.
Yeah,
or
exactly.
Something.
You would have a system in place and all that kind of stuff. So I get what you're saying, of course. I felt like there was a weird kind of distance in that relationship, like.
In hers and her daughters.
Yeah, it was funny. They didn't. I actually kind of enjoyed that they didn't paint it as like this perfect mother-daughter relationship.
No.
It was. It had issues. They had a separation between them, and
you could tell in the car scene when she was getting, "Come on, just get in the car. I'm late." Sort of, and it wasn't just "I'm late." It was.
There was that frustration. There was that frustration. Yeah, there was that kind of that. Yeah, that. Like obviously, I don't know. I don't know that feeling, but it's something that I'm aware of. That kind of that distance from your child, that kind of that
emotional distance. Like you're trying to connect, but you can't force something.
Yeah. And so I found it to be kind of an interesting dynamic, and especially with Cece as well, because they obviously didn't get along at first.
Yeah.
And it took them a while to kind of find common ground, because it was almost like they were both fighting over.
Hillary. Which they were, and almost the sense of I really loved it that she was. Oh, bless you,
bless me.
I really liked the sense that even before they met each other, that they were almost very much alike.
Yes,
which was just perfect.
Which is obviously very deliberate.
Yeah.
And I really like the conversation between Cece and the daughter at the end. I think it's a really great encapsulation of Cece's character development.
Yeah. Huge.
I love how nervous she is about asking her to be with her. Like it's never at any point is she like she never leads on that she doesn't want her to come with her.
Yeah.
She's just worried that she might not be good enough and might disappoint her.
Yeah.
Which I think is really quite a lovely touch, because it's gotten to this point where we now have this character that is 100% selfless, who has been pretty selfish for a majority of the film.
Yeah,
exactly. I just think it was a nice encapsulation of that.
You see that along with the drive when it cuts back of her driving for the airport, and then it cuts back to her again, and then again.
Yeah.
That you see that she is remembering this and almost becoming selfless along the drive. You know, through the drive, that she's realizing what's going to happen, and she may have to.
Yeah, and that's it. Maybe
daughter,
the real
or take care of the daughter.
Yeah, what's the word I'm thinking of? Not the realism. The reality. Oh, Jesus. The reality of the situation has dawned on her as she's received this phone call and said, oh, no, shit, this all has to go on hold for a little while.
Yeah.
And what turns out to probably be a pretty long while. You know, in order to... Well, I mean, she still performs, obviously, but it's a totally different lifestyle now. She essentially has a daughter. Yeah.
Yeah.
And when she says, can I bring my cat? I got really sad.
Oh, that was a nice cat.
It was such a beautiful cat.
That was a really nice cat.
Yeah.
I would like a cat.
So, back to Bette Midler for a second.
Oh, sure.
Because I really, really was just interested by this performance. Like, I found it really odd.
I think this is my... Sorry, keep going.
No. Say what you're going to say.
I think this is my second only Bette Midler movie.
Oh, right.
Yeah. The first one obviously being Hocus Pocus. But I don't think I've ever seen Bette Midler in anything else. I'm going to check. You keep talking. What were you going to say?
Because she does this thing where I'm not sure CC is 100% okay, but because of the weird energy of her performance, it exposes this really strange kind of vulnerability. It's kind of like more endearing or something because she is so broken, I think. Really? Like, I really don't think she's like 100% okay.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't think she is either.
But that comes from what Bette Midler's doing, I think. This weird kind of false confidence or something that is littered throughout
that she puts out there.
But I think I feel like I don't know if that's 100% deliberate on Bette's behalf either, because it is so much Bette being Bette.
But it wouldn't work. But it wouldn't work otherwise. I just took that as what it was, because if Hillary wasn't altogether, I don't know, mentally sound. That sounds horrible, but she wasn't altogether with her life, and Bette isn't either. You know, So her being kind of okay with everything kind of puts it unbalanced. I think the friendship worked because they kind of
look. I mean, obviously, there's definitely an element of that. I think their broken lives in air quotes. I think it's a very different kind of dynamic. It just so happens to be like pieces that click together.
Yeah. But you're saying that
there's something that Bette Midler's doing that makes it seem like her vulnerabilities are there more as a result of an underlying problem that she hasn't get through, or that she hasn't addressed. Yeah.
Really?
I don't know. It's just the vibe. Okay. Especially, it was the conversation with her mum on the beach when her mum was like, "You're too. You actually just got to be too much.
Yeah.
We couldn't." And her reaction to it is really interesting. I found it so strange. It was like she was a kid again. Like she broke a little bit. She was
bottling up and kind of going, "Oh, well, why the fuck are you doing?"
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
It's just, and it's funny because you watch it how. It might have just been that she was bottling up her true emotions for too long or something like that. But I just feel like the kind of person that she is, the way that she dealt with those issues in her life was pretty representative of somebody, I think, who maybe has some kind of mental issue.
Yeah.
And I thought it was a really interesting representation of that. It wasn't just. It wasn't just like, oh, gee, shucks, she can't get her life together.
No, it wasn't.
Like, I think there's actual problems there.
Yeah.
I think. And I thought it was just interesting in that performance that came to light, because I think Bette's weird kind of confidence highlighted that actual insecurities and vulnerabilities of that. I think.
Right.
But I could just be talking shit.
No, I see it. No, I totally see it. It'd be interesting maybe they are in there in the book and she read them and
maybe
they weren't mentioned or cut. And she went, well...
Apparently the doctor's a pedophile in the book.
Yeah, I read that.
I was like, why
are we putting that in? Don't put that in.
That is a good...
Please don't put that in.
Don't put that in the movie. No one needs that.
Fucking pedo. Don't put a pedo in here. We don't need
Beaches
pedos.
does not need a pedophile.
No, it doesn't.
That is definitely
That's
not what it needs.
Definitely not what it needs.
What else?
I would like to take this moment to give a little shout out to two characters in this that are... Fuck, I forget the second one. Oh, no. Two characters that I loved every moment of them in this scene, of them in this movie.
Yes.
Number one is the mother of Bette. Well, I've seen her in other things. I forget what they are. I think it's... what is the movie that we always used to come back to? The Big Hit?
The Big Hit. She's not in the Big Hit.
She is in the Big Hit.
Are you serious?
Yeah, 100%.
That's amazing. That would make my day.
Leanne Kazan, that's her name. I love that she calls
Lainey Kazan. Yeah,
Lainey
yeah.
Kazan. I love that she calls her Leona. She is so amazing. It may just be that I love the trope of the Jewish mother. I always love that. It's one of my favourite things. It's just her, like that scene where she comes across the boy and the boy is drinking from the water and she goes, "What are you, a camel? Come on, get out of here." And she goes, "Oh, I'm schwitzing." You know, it's like, I love that.
It's pretty like,
it's so good.
It's very typical.
Yeah.
Typical Jewish mum.
It's typical Jewish mum.
It makes me laugh.
And it did make us laugh, and that's why it was there. Like her being the stage mum and all that stuff. But the fact that, and what you said before of her going back to the beach scene, she gets a second turn, and you see what has happened to the mum, and she kind of like, no. I'm here, I'm relaxing. I've dealt with you all of my life, okay? And now it's my turn, you know. I love that. I love that scene. That was so good. And the fact that Bette was in full leather on a Miami beach was fucking intense. Jesus Christ.
Talk about schwitzen.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Yes,
so
I think
have to shout out to her.
great.
She was so good.
Great character, great performance.
The other one, which I had to... I YouTube this, and I'm going to put this on the fucking Facebook because it was so fucking... I lost my shit. I had to pause and laugh hardly when she is auditioning and she comes in and the guy after her comes in and just goes, "K, Sarah, Sarah," and oh my God, I lost my fucking shit.
He is great.
Oh my God. Just a throwback to doing auditions and just to pump, like, just swapping in. Because I've never been in an audition where they've churned it out that quickly.
That much of a cattle call,
but Jesus Christ, he was on the ball and he deserves something. He deserves a Tony.
Just a little click to the pianist,
1,
and then
2,
it's
3, 4,
and
and jumps in. Oh, Jesus Christ!
With the
so
most, like the most
hilarious.
Broadway of Broadway voices, like vibrato, just
and of course
ear to ear.
you know for a fact that someone has literally snipped that clip, and you can just watch that on YouTube. Just that guy.
Yes, I would almost put $1 million on it.
I love him
for sure.
I will watch it again just for him.
Yeah, supporting characters in this movie pretty strong, like,
really good. But the thing is,
only popping up here and there, but it's all littered with really great, like just small performances. There's no one where you're like, oh, you're a bit dodge, aren't you?
No, but the thing is, this is what I was why I was bringing it up is because apart from John Hurd, the other male characters are kind of throwaways a little.
Yeah, well, there's no need for them, I guess. They're good performances, all of them, and they all do what they need to do. I think.
The middle pedo doctor didn't.
The pedo doctor, yes.
He didn't do anything. That was a nothing character, man.
Yeah, but I don't. It's not so much their significance. I don't think they are necessarily significant to this, so I don't need them to be. But I think as far as their performances go, and their like. Everyone does their job really well. All the little supporting roles, because really the focus is on the two of them, and then you've got John Hurd and you've got her mum, and I reckon. And I think that's it. As far as actually fully rounded characters, that's it. Yeah. That's all we got to work with. When it comes to, pedo doctor, her husband, why do I keep forgetting her name? Hillary's husband, the other lawyer. God, I mean, who else is in the show?
No, that was it. It was just the child as well.
And the daughter, It doesn't require... I don't need them to be fully three-dimensional characters because they're just serving a purpose.
Okay.
But they're all performed really well, I think.
Okay.
How's the
I will never hear fucking Que Sera again without thinking of that.
There's some ripper lines from some extras, though, in this. I love how, you'll have this little interaction at the start of a scene, and then it'll pan across, and then some guy in the background is like, "She's really famous."
Oh yeah,
so I was like, "Oh man, that extra was loving that line."
He earned his money. Yeah. He earned his money.
Well, Nick, I reckon that might wrap us up, man.
That was it. Oh,
you got something else?
Oh, one last little tidbit.
Sure.
One last little tidbit. While we were watching it, Sam, we were watching it, and Sam was like, "You know what? If they ever do remake this, Lady Gaga, and Natalie Portman." And I was like, "Oh, not bad,
not bad at all."
And then I looked it up, Tyson, and it was remade in 2017.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, it was.
Are you serious?
With Idina Menzel. And I don't know who the other actress is.
You're kidding me.
They have remade Beaches 2017, Tice.
TV movie.
Nina Long.
Nia Long?
Who's Nina Long? I don't know
Nia
who
Long
she is.
She is in heaps of stuff. Boiler Room. Yes.
Is she in Boiler Room?
Oh, what do I know her
She is
from?
in Boiler Room. Premonition? Oh, I do know her.
There was something really specific that I know a lot from, and now I can't find it.
Tyson?
Yes?
Remake. 2017.
So who knew? Idina Menzel. CC Bloom.
CC Bloom.
Yeah, it's not reviewed very well.
No, it's but I want to know
reimagined for a new generation.
What do you reckon, Tice? Huh? You gonna watch it?
No.
I believe it's on Netflix.
Are you serious?
No, I'm kidding. I'm about to look it up.
This blows my mind.
Tice.
This blows my
Remake, man.
mind.
Come on. Are you not on this? Beaches.
And Idina Menzel sings Wind Beneath My Wings. This is out of control. How have I not known about this?
There we go.
People's minds are being blown as we speak that this thing exists.
No way.
There's also a movie called Beaches, The After Party, which sounds kind of like porn.
Beaches, well, we're not watching that. No one's watching that.
Oh, this 1 hour special keeps the celebration going following the premiere of Lifetime's remake of the classic movie Beaches. They were so confident they even had a special after its airing.
Come on. As if you're not going to watch it.
I'm not going to watch that, Nicholas.
Everyone loves Idina Menzel. Everyone. Even John Travolta.
He especially loves her.
He loves her face.
Yeah, he's a big fan of her face.
Yeah.
Beaches. Look, I mean, I just really enjoyed it, man.
It was good.
Yeah. You know when you just kind of like, you get to the end of the movie and just like, yeah, man, that was good. Yeah. Like, that was solid.
Yeah.
Like, I love just watching good actors doing good stuff. Like, and actually kind of like, it's a very old-fashioned kind of style of filmmaking, I think. Like,
it was a digestible movie. That's the thing.
Oh, yeah,
it wasn't nothing too hard, nothing, put you off or anything like that.
No.
Super digestible.
Believable, really. I mean, I don't think we've really probably talked about it enough, but the realistic representation of friendship, like that kind of friendship where there's no off limits. Like you're so you know that you are so connected to this other individual that you can have the kind of conversations that they have.
Right.
I couldn't really think of any other movie about friendship that had these kinds of conversations. I found them, especially like, for instance, the one she has with Hillary after she sleeps with John Hurt's character.
Yeah.
I just found it to be just such an incredibly like honest, like no boundary conversation.
Yeah.
I was so impressed by it. I was just kind of like, wow, this really gets to the heart of like what.
Cut the bullshit.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Unless a film would have, should I tell her? Should I?
Yeah.
No, don't waffle on that shit.
I think there is some movie dialogue in this film, for sure. But I was really surprised at how much it was, like you said, cut the movie bullshit and really kind of just, the dialogue was so authentic, I thought.
Yeah.
It was, and it almost sometimes in the same scene as well. Sometimes I found it amazing how I would kind of be like, well, that line's a bit clunky. And then the next second, like 2 seconds later, I'd be like, well, that's the best line in the fucking movie. Like, so it was, and usually it was when they were just so perfectly encapsulating their friendship. And so I really responded to that.
Beaches.
Did you cry, Nick?
You know what, Tice? I did. But the thing is, I wasn't Green Mile crying. That's what I call it. I call it Green Mile crying. Because Green Mile crying is Nick going, that type of stuff.
I feel like if you say, are you green miling? It sounds like some kind of like going on some kind of drug trip.
Exactly.
Oh, hey man, you green miling?
Are you Green Mile? You chasing?
You chasing? I got the Green Mile right here, baby.
So yeah, I didn't Green Mile, but I did shed a tear.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. Did you cry, Tyson?
I got as close as I was possibly going to get when during the conversation with Cece and Hillary's daughter, surprisingly enough.
Yeah.
aside from that, no. Yeah. And I'm like a big baby sometimes.
I know, me too.
I was prepared for it, to be honest. And even it was funny because early in the movie when they were setting it up, I actually thought, oh, this is going to kill me later. I can already see it happening. It was funny. It was almost like there was a strange kind of peacefulness about it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I understand why it's obviously a massive tearjerker.
Huge.
And I'm not saying that it's any less of a thing because it didn't make me cry.
Oh, no.
It actually gave me
huge.
a weird sense of ease because it handled the death so classily.
Yeah.
And effectively, that there was just a certain amount of kind of like, I was at peace with it. And it was kind of just
well,
like,
this is where a little bit of movie tweaking could have turned on the taps a little more. Because, and I revert back to a movie that we have done.
Oh, yes.
The Bodyguard with your man, Kate Cost.
Yeah.
And my girl,
My
Whitney. When that song kicks in at the end.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
it's Waterworks.
Exactly. Do you know what I mean? So I'm saying, if you,
I know,
do you know what I
man.
mean? So
Like-
if you tweak the Weeping on My Wings in a little bit of a different section there.
Maybe.
I'm telling you the works could have been.
But I mean, for 99.9% of the population, this movie brings the waterworks.
Oh, yeah.
I'm
just saying.
Yeah, it's funny. Like,
just a little
isn't it
tweak
funny
of the
though?
music,
What
you know?
like, and
Because
this
it's
is
music. It's very rarely acting that makes you cry. It's and we're going to hit the score now. And
yeah. Look,
that's
I
when
mean, this is.
you know,
You're not wrong. It's something that I think gets overlooked a little bit is the effectiveness of the timing of the musical cue. You wonder if anyone ever wonders why an emotional moment works so well. 9 times out of 10, it's the placement of the music cue.
Yeah.
But you know, this is coming from a guy that cried in Shrek 2.
I need a hero.
Yeah,
because of that, really.
Oh, well, maybe it was, but I always thought it was just Puss in Boots because I was just so like obsessed with that character in that movie. But maybe there's something about the music of that tune. Maybe something about it kind of. There's that theory that why you cry in songs, and there's a psychological kind of response to certain conflict and resolution in songwriting.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it's a long-winded way of saying that certain melodic lines, because they will clash for a little bit and then resolve. Your body is responding to the resolve of it. So it's almost like a release. So if you can time that moment where it releases with the emotional moment in the film,
movie.
you can have a instant waterworks. So like maybe it is all just chemical. Maybe it's just putting that formula together, throwing it in the pot, and just cooking it at just the right temperature.
I'm telling you.
Yeah. What did you just say? Is I?
I don't know the words. I just sing.
His eyes. That's all I got.
God damn.
Let's move on.
Weeping in My Wings. Wrong song.
It is the wrong song.
All right.
Nicholas, I think it's time that we talked about.
Oh, yeah?
What did you watch this week?
All right.
Are you going to go first or do you want me to go first?
You go first.
Okay, I'll go first.
Oh, what have you got?
Oh, nothing super exciting.
Super exciting?
Let me have a look at what I watched this week. Nick, let's talk about... what do I want to talk about?
You watched a few things.
Just two other things other than beaches.
Yep.
Both worth talking about, but I don't know which one I want to talk about more.
Hang on a minute. Let's talk about both because I didn't watch anything.
Oh, didn't you?
No.
All right, cool. So first of all, I'm going to talk about 2002's Road to Perdition. Movie I hadn't seen for a really long time.
Good film, man.
Yeah, I used to pretty comfortably rate it as like the best Sam Mendes film.
Oh, okay.
And after this watch, it is cemented it in my opinion.
Hands
I think
down.
it is leaps and bounds above what he did. Like I haven't watched American Beauty since the tide has kind of turned on American Beauty.
Yeah.
The last time I watched it was well back in the days when people still thought it was a great movie. And this is the thing. So in my memory, I'm still like, I don't really understand why the tide has turned on American Beauty. Aside from the fact that it would be very uncomfortable now to watch it.
Absolutely uncomfortable.
Watch that performance.
Yeah. Are you telling me that Road to Perdition is better than Spectre? Is that what you're saying?
How is that even possible? Yeah, and so, but even back then, I used to push for Road to Perdition. I was like, no, it is better. It got snubbed. it is far and away a better film. Tom Hanks is doing some of his career best work.
Yeah, man.
Paul Newman is fucking smashing it. Conrad L. Hall in his last film shot the shit out of it. Like it is.
Jude Law is fucking terrifying.
Jude Law is terrifying.
Daniel Craig.
Daniel Craig's a real
nice
piece of shit. You just
role
want
that you
to
get
fucking
chewed on, like
kick him in the kneecaps. You do.
Such a good film. This movie. This movie used to be on a loop in our house when I used to live with housemates.
And it is just a good. It is one of those kind of movies where it's just it's not too long. It's 2 hours, but you put it on. And at the end of it, you're just like, hey, man, that was a fucking solid movie. Yeah. Why haven't I watched that before? Or why haven't I watched this more often?
Exactly.
Because it doesn't get talked about. It's not in the conversation, really.
No. See, this is the hidden one, Tys, not 13th Warrior. This is the hidden gem.
No, you're right. This is the hidden gem of the show.
Yeah.
If you're going to choose between one of those two, please watch Road to Perdition. Don't watch the 13th Warrior.
Exactly.
If you haven't seen it, I can't recommend it highly enough. I think
100%.
Yeah, there are sequences in that movie that just blow me away still.
Yeah. And I like it. I like it because I remember when I first heard of Road to Perdition, and it was a role where Tom Hanks is playing a character that he doesn't normally play.
Yes.
Because I have always wanted to see. I like actors who switch it up. I want to see Tom Hanks as the villain. You know, I want to see that.
Yeah.
I don't know whether we'll get it, but this is as close as you're going to get, sort of thing. Even though he's kind of not in this. Like, you know what I mean? Like it pretty quickly abandons. Bad guy, but
yeah. But this is the thing. I think it's a really carefully measured performance because it's not like one of those. Like, let's say, for example, A Perfect World.
Sure.
Have you seen this?
I haven't. Pocahontas.
No, that's the New World. A Perfect World is the Clint Eastwood, Kevin Costner.
Seen that.
Yeah, so Kevin Costner's a real piece of shit in that movie and does some pretty horrible shit across the movie, but is kind of, over the course of the movie, we start to understand him a little bit better. It's not one of those kind of things where Tom Hanks is a real monster and then over the course of the journey
we see
with his son and we see him soften.
Yeah.
He's always actually just a pretty good guy, but he has done some really horrible shit.
Yeah.
And it's a movie that's more about the reputation of a man compared to what the man actually was.
So true. God, this is a good movie.
Yeah, and it's kind of it's interesting because you think about all these guys from that era, like your Capones, your Nitties, like
yeah, man.
We have this kind of image in our head of them being these horrible, ruthless
Vile
people.
yeah.
And I think this movie kind of presents this idea that it's like they couldn't all have been. You know what I mean? Like every one of these guys that went out and maybe had to kill some dudes here and there, not every one of them probably was just walking scum. What if they were just doing what they
Family
thought
guys
they had to do? Like,
were
or they
born into this life or something,
Yeah, and so I think it's a really and the relationship between him and Paul Newman I just find fascinating and just beautiful.
Like that scene where he sits down and Paul starts playing the piano and he joins him, and you think that that's the end of the scene, and then you realise that his son is actually watching the whole thing.
Exactly.
And I'm like, fucking this is
and the
intense.
The greatest line when Tom Hanks' son asks him, why are you smiling? And he just leans over and does the whole, because it's all so fucking hilarious. I love that line so much. It is just, and Daniel Craig delivers it just with just absolute glory in his eyes.
Yeah.
It's just, there are truly brilliant moments throughout the movie. I think the conversation that Tom Hanks has with his son about the idea of favourites, like, I find really honest and truthful, because I'm fairly certain I had that conversation with my parents at some time in our lives, and it's just such a weird kind of idea but every kid will probably bring it up.
Yeah.
And I think it's just wonderfully handled in it. It's so good. So good. And emotional, like we're talking about crying and stuff, like emotionally gripping.
Yeah.
You're just so involved by the finale.
I need to watch that again. I don't own that. That is a crime.
Yeah, I only had it on DVD, but I think this is a Blu-ray upgrade required because it's shot so spectacularly well.
I remember that first scene where the son follows him, and you see what happens from the perspective of the son.
Yeah, you're basically watching the whole scene.
You're watching the whole thing.
Like through a crack in the wood. Yeah,
it's so well shot. And then when they come out, and it's just pouring with fucking rain.
Yeah. Oh, and there's a gunfight in the rain that is just. Don't even talk about it. Like, just watch it. It's just so.
It's called Road to
good.
Perdition. Please watch it. And I think a lot of people have missed it because of the title. Do you think?
Yeah, look, it's
because
not
called Kill Bill. You know, do you know what I mean? No, I'm being serious.
No, I know what you mean. It's not. It's a very kind of. It's a very arty film title.
Yeah.
You could imagine it like being read out on Oscar night. Road to Perdition. And it could be about anything.
And the Oscar goes to...
Yeah, it could be about literally anything.
Exactly.
So, yeah, definitely recommended.
I haven't watched any more Sam Mendes. I haven't seen Jarhead, Revolutionary Road, Away We Go. I haven't seen any of those. Anything I should watch there? Jarhead, I heard. The guys at work went, how have you not watched Jarhead?
No, that's too kind.
Really?
It's fine. I saw it at the cinema of all things.
Oh, well.
Back in
But that's
2005
the thing. Mendes
or whatever
was
it was.
a name to be reckoned with back then.
I was a huge fan. Yeah, absolutely. He could do no wrong in my eyes. And Jarhead was kind of the beginning of where I stopped being interested.
Okay.
I think it's not a terrible movie by any stretch, but it's not.
I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah, I don't think. I think aside from Skyfall. He's never really made a movie as good as Road to Perdition. Yeah, I don't think.
That's what I heard. All right. What was the other one, Tys?
Oh, okay, so this is a bit of fun, man. I watched a movie from 1990. Tell me if you've heard of this movie, because I can tell you have definitely seen the DVD cover, because if you the VHS cover.
The VHS.
Because if you worked in a video store, or if you frequented a video store,
was it called Bad Taste?
No,
because that one
is. You're right.
Drilled in my
that one is
head,
drilled into my head as well. No, if you ever visited a hardware store, I've given away the movie title. I'm talking about this movie, 1990s Hardware.
Yes, I have seen that.
Which features
cover. I have seen that.
Yeah, so the cover features this robot with the like an American flag painted on his face.
Right. I saw you watch this. I was like, what the fuck is this?
With the tagline, it reactivates, it exhilarates, it exterminates.
What made you want to watch this?
Okay, so I'll tell you why. I actually have a fairly reasonable reason for watching this.
Okay.
Is that Richard Stanley, who is the writer and director, he was actually the guy that was hired to make The Island of Dr. Moreau.
Right.
And is the subject of that amazing documentary, Island of Lost Souls, which is about how the movie Island of Dr. Moreau just went to shit. Yeah. And Richard Stanley is a really interesting dude, and seems like he is a very creative person. And so all his pre-production work on Island of Dr. Moreau was actually incredible.
Right.
And in that documentary, it mentioned his previous movies, one called Dust Devil and Hardware.
Right.
And in my head, I never put two and two together. I was just kind of like, oh yeah, Hardware. And then it kind of came up with the VHS cover, and I was like, oh my God, that image is burned into my brain.
Absolutely, 100%. How was Hardware?
It's okay. So yeah. Look, there are segments in this film like. For a movie that goes for about 90 minutes, I would say about 25 of those 90 minutes are fucking incredible.
Yeah.
Like, just doing such great stuff.
Iggy Pop is in this
Iggy Poppy. Iggy Poppy?
Iggy Poppy. Lemmy? Oh, my God.
Lemmy does a cameo. Yeah, so there are sequences in it that just blow my mind for their creativity, their his camera placement and direction and the cinematography. It is so wonderful in points.
Yeah,
and then a lot of it is just kind of generic late 80s, early 90s sci-fi horror.
Yeah,
like,
man.
You know, people stuck in a location, something is trying to kill them. Lots of on computer screens and, you know, things like that. But the moments that work so unbelievably well that it doesn't surprise me that he was then kind of touted as somebody to follow.
So what is this? Can you give me a little synopsis? What is the...
So it's a post-apocalyptic world.
Yep.
What's his name? Not Dermot Mulroney, the other one.
Dylan McDermott.
Dylan McDermott, thank you. That's one of the best all-time, but not. Yeah,
that's
not Dermot Mulroney, but Dylan McDermott. Is like a wanderer through like wasteland, kind of like picks up trash. It's a bit Mad Maxy, but the whole thing is he's like a salvager.
Okay.
Yeah, just finds whatever metal he can, sells it for value, blah 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 blah. Anyway, he's visiting the guy that is basically like the pawn shop owner, who he trades all his shit for. And while he's there, this weird nomad guy comes in with a bag, throws it on the ground. He's like, "How much will you give me for this?" And it's a skull. It's a robotic skull and a whole bunch of pieces of machinery.
Right.
And his girlfriend does like weird kind of artwork with some of the scraps that he finds. So he's like, oh, she's going to love this. So he buys it, basically.
Sure.
Takes it back to her, but it turns out it was actually a decommissioned military weapon.
Right.
This is all revealed within the first 20 minutes. There are no spoilers in this whatsoever. And part of what it can do is actually use surrounding electricity to repair itself.
Right.
So it was buried in the desert, and that was the only reason why it was dead, because there was no electricity to be found anywhere. As soon as it discovers electricity, it has the ability to regenerate itself.
Sounds like a fucking blast.
The reason why it was buried in the desert is because it has murderous tendencies.
Yes!
And holy shit, does it murder some fuckers. There are some violent moments in this. Like, I always used to look at it and be like, remember when you saw R ratings on VHS movies and you were just like, I need to watch this immediately.
I need to watch this showdown in Little Tokyo. Come to me.
Exactly.
Come on.
Well, I would say that one really doesn't deserve the R rating anymore.
It doesn't at all. When I watched it, I was so disappointed.
Yeah, absolutely. But this one does. There are some absolutely gruesome moments in it, violent-wise. Really creative stuff. Like, it's all practical.
Yeah.
All of it is practical.
Right.
And it looks fucking great, man.
Yeah.
And so there's a sequence about 3/4 of the way through when one of the characters has like some poison.
Okay.
Injected.
Uh-huh.
That was, honestly, I was fucking like gobsmacked by how good it was. And then that kind of leads onto a patch where I suppose that's the third act. That's kind of the beginning of the third act. And it's all great from there.
Yeah.
It's just getting to that point. There are some ups and downs. And it was
nice.
At times fine. At times actively I was tuning out. But then, God, when it's good, it is fucking good. So,
nice.
yeah.
All right.
Hardware. 1990.
1990.
Yeah.
And Road to Perdition. That's a nice watch, Tys.
Yeah, I had some fun this week.
Nice watches.
All
right.
Thank you. I bought this Movement Watches. If anyone listens to the podcast, we're going to have a gag about that one.
Good Lord.
Well, is it time that we did some Crossing the Skies?
All right.
Yeah, what
that
do we
was
got?
Probably the best one we've ever done.
We were actually pretty close to the same pitch then, so it felt like a little bit more organic, like it kind of worked.
I'm still waiting for the time where you just take a chunk and just yep.
Oh, so we never have to do it again?
Never have to do it again?
No, that's never going to happen. It's so much more fun this way.
I feel good. Okay, then. All right.
What do you got?
Yeah, look.
Well, what will...
I was going to do... I can't really do a Bette Midler film. The only thing I've seen is Hocus Pocus.
You can recommend Hocus Pocus if you like.
I can, but I haven't seen it since my grandma took me to see it in the cinema, and I said, "Grandma, can I get some popcorn?" And she pulled out a carrot. That's right. There's a cinema fucking story for you.
Oh man,
Thanks,
that shit ruins you for life. You'll never forget the time that you wanted popcorn and you got a carrot.
And I got a fucking carrot and raisins. Nana, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, that'll do you for life.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I am going to...
So good.
It doesn't have anything to do with what we've been talking about. But this is a movie that I've been... The Blu-ray's been sitting there still in its packet, and I've been itching to watch it. And Sam won't watch it with me because she was like, why would I ever go through that again? It was quite traumatizing. And 2014's Damien Chazelle's Whiplash is on
very good.
Stan. And if anyone hasn't seen this, I'm still pissed that this kind of didn't win a few more awards.
It won some important ones that I was pretty happy with.
Oh, absolutely. The fact that that JK got his Best Supporting, I was hands down all for it. But this is, if anyone doesn't know, Damien Chazelle is the gentleman that did La La Land.
Mm-hmm.
And the new one, which is...
First Man.
Miles Teller is a drumming student. He goes to a very prestigious music school to learn how to play the drums. And his teacher is J.K. Simmons, and all hell breaks loose. It is such a... Oh, it was just such an enthralling look at not only the work of cinema, working with music, but also one-upping each other. There was so much more that was going on the screen than it needs multiple watches, this thing.
Yeah.
Like, you can never watch this movie the same way, once you've seen it.
No,
like, there's no way.
100%. 100%.
Yeah. I love this movie. I love this movie so much.
I absolutely love it. You You are not wrong. It is an amazing representation of the idea of the mentor and student relationship.
Yep.
I think it's like it's irrelevant that it's about music.
Yeah. You could take it in any.
You could put this into
film.
any environment, and I think he ended up choosing music because it's an easy one to not easier, but it works well with the film. Yeah, you're right, because there's a video floating around YouTube which was talking about the effectiveness of the editing of Whiplash.
Yeah.
And a big part of that was how the editing and the score works so beautifully together.
Yeah.
And not just, I mean, most of the music in the movie is diegetic, but that works with the editing so effectively and creates this unbelievable tension that is so effective, so ridiculously effective. And I think whether
you're into music or not, it doesn't matter.
Well, I think that's funny that most of the people that I find that haven't enjoyed this film, it's come from people who are very heavily into music, who are musicians and music teachers and things like that. But it's almost like they're focusing too much on the representation of on how truthfully music is represented in the film, and missing the point of the film, which is so beyond the fact that it's music.
Exactly. I heard a lot of when talking about this film with other people, a lot of people who play instruments to a professional level go, that's not how you learn jazz. I'm like, that's not the point. You're missing the point.
No, exactly. Yeah.
If you think that that's how you learn how to play jazz, then I'm pretty sure boxers don't like Rocky. Exactly.
Anybody that it's their career, I'm fairly certain doctors don't watch ER and go, wow,
there's a lot of doors in this.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, what's with all these fucking doors, man? Can't you just, it's. I think it's really hard when it is your profession to see clearly what the goal of the film is, because you can find yourself caught up in the semantics of the
nuts and bolts of how to play an instrument, or they wouldn't do that. That's not how you do it. Things like that.
And just the finer details of whatever craft they've chosen to represent. It's we always have to take liberties for thematic purposes in order to make the movie work as narrative. There will always be. And look, there are some great music movies that are truthful about music as well, and are very accurate representations of music.
Sure.
But in this case, they chose to tell a different story, and it required a certain amount of fantasy to be applied to the rules of music.
Yeah.
But it works an absolute treat for me. I love it so much.
Miles Teller, you watch it for Miles Teller's acting, JK's acting, and the direction of Damien Chazelle, which it's his first?
I think that was his first major release. He'd done some short films prior to that, I believe.
Please watch Whiplash. It's on Stan.
Absolutely.
Stanley.
I'm going to recommend a movie that's on Netflix, just recently jumped to Netflix, and it is a movie that is such a staple of my 90s VHS watching.
I knew I should have picked. I should have picked a 90s film. No, we did 80s. Keep going. Sorry, keep going.
You've got this somehow in your head that the Beaches is from 1998. It's just stuck in there.
I do. It feels like a 90s film.
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk about a movie from 1997, and it's called Cube. I'm sure you have seen Cube, Nicholas.
Love Cube.
Everybody who is our age saw Cube.
Exactly.
Rented it on VHS at a party with some friends and watched Cube, because around the time this was around the time when you'd go rent Dark City, The Matrix, Cube, and then maybe a few other things in your 5 weeklies for $5.
Exactly. Vampires with
Vampires with James Woods.
And
what's
and
the
maybe
great choice?
Maybe like The Faculty or something.
The Big Hit.
Yeah, The Big.
And so I have seen...
That is my $5 for $5. That is my $5.
If someone came home with those $5 from a $5 for $5, if it was like, guys, we're party night, we're going to get some, we have a few drinks and watch some VHS, we got 5 weeklies for $5, and brought those home... Done. Win. I'm in. 100% in.
Looks like I'm sleeping here.
Yeah. Cube is a really strange, very creative movie. Basically, one set. Well, it's one set that's led to believe to be different areas, but they did it all in one set. They just changed the lighting of the set of the walls in the set, and it's about a cube where people people get stuck inside this cube. They don't know why they're there.
It's a puzzle.
They don't know how to get out, but it is,
not like Saw. It's got nothing to do with that.
No. Exactly. So, and in each of the rooms, there is a trap of some description, and they need to solve some kind of mathematical puzzle in the cube
to find out how to get out.
Or to get out of the cube before something happens. And yeah, it's less concerned by the things that like Saw is concerned by.
Exactly.
It's violent, but it's not in any kind of way glorifying or having fun with the gore.
This is
just
before the torture porn era, which is what Saw was in, but isn't really anymore.
Yeah, it's kind of it's got its toes in two different. It dips its toe in the pool of torture porn. I've never thought I'd say that sentence. Cube does not. Yeah, and basically it becomes a movie about the real horror is the humans that you're stuck with than
it's about
the actual people on the outside.
6 or 5?
Yeah, I don't know. I can't remember. 5 or 6 people.
Yeah.
Let's see if it says 7 strangers are taken out of their daily lives and placed mysteriously in a deadly cube where they all agree they must find their way out. Well, I don't know why who would not agree to that.
The first 2 die quite quickly.
Yeah,
and it's just the 5
and then it's
kind
exposed
of like,
that things are pretty fucked up.
Yeah. It's such a good movie though.
It is a great little movie. I assume it holds up. It's been probably 20 years since I've seen it.
I saw it, I think it was about 3 years ago. Because I was like, Sam, you have to watch The Cube. Because we were watching movies where it's not on face value what you think. And I knew that going in because the end of The Cube is quite like metaphysical, maybe is the word I'm looking for.
Maybe.
Yeah. Where you're kind of like, well, what the fuck, and you don't really know what's going on at that point.
No, I mean, this might be a spoiler, I guess, but it's a very open-ended ending.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think it's a very effective way to finish a movie like this because I think in a lot of cases people would be expecting the architect scene from the Magic Revolutions, where it's just
where you're like, well,
we're going to sit and talk for 10 minutes, or the end of Psycho, where we're going to talk for 10 minutes about what just happened in this movie, and so you all know what's going on. Whereas obviously this movie does not do that, and but I remember like that being. This is one of those movies that teenage me was just chomping at the bit for, and was like, this is the fucking best movie ever. So it might not hold up to that degree anymore, but I'd be interested to give it another watch, and if it brings anyone around to it for the first time, I hope they enjoy it.
Yeah.
Excellent.
And that's on
Netflix.
Netflix, nice.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us, ladies and gentlemen. This is Nick Tys and Videotape. Yes. If you are listening to us on any streaming service, please like, review, rate, share us. Share us around. If you know someone who likes movies, if you know someone who likes beaches, share it to them.
Share it to them. Get them in.
I'm pretty sure we are the only podcast. I'm going to have a look.
I tried to find another podcast that had done an episode about beaches, and I couldn't find anything. But having said that, the search function on the phone is not great.
Yeah, okay.
So it would require some actual Googling, I think.
Googling, all right. But yes, please let them know about our podcast.
Yeah,
rate,
send them our way.
We would love it. But other than that, we are on Facebook, we are on Twitter, we are on Twitter, we are on Instagram.
We are.
We're also on YouTube, and we do have a Gmail address, which is nicktysonvideotape@gmail.com. Nick is without a K, and Tys is 2 AS.
That's correct. Yeah. You can send, basically any kind of correspondence to us whatsoever if you want to just have a chat about something, or if you want to request a film. Even if you just want to hang shit on us for liking a movie that you don't like, or vice versa.
Yeah.
We would love to read that out loud.
Yeah.
So please go nuts, send us an email, or just get on the socials.
Get on the faces.
Yeah.
Next week, Tys.
Nick.
Dun, 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 dun,
obviously that's what it is. But does that theme even happen in this one?
So. I don't think so. And that's where we're going to leave it.
Right.
Well, this is because we've never done a Star Wars, Tys.
We have not, and we are opening that can of worms. Yeah, we're going to just jump right in. We figure we're coming up to the end of the next, I guess, trilogy iteration of Star Wars. We're nearly done. By the end of this year, we will have our third trilogy in the Star Wars saga.
9 films.
9, specifically 9 in that, and then all the other random bullshit.
Ones, yeah.
Including Caravan of Courage. Of course, that counts as that's in the same boat as like Rogue One
and Battle for
Isn't that
Endor,
amazing? And Battle, exactly. Can you imagine, like, if you got a box set of like the Star Wars spin-offs, and it was Rogue One, Solo,
Caravan
of Courage. And Battle of Endor.
And Star Wars, the Christmas special.
And the Christmas special. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we weren't really sure where to start. So we've kind of gone, I don't know what you call this. It's probably a cop-out choice, to be honest. But,
why is it a cop-out choice?
I reckon it's the easy choice.
Oh, really?
But,
well, we're not going to do fucking Attack of the Clones, are we?
No. Well, stay tuned for something to do with the prequels, because we do want to do a solid chunk of Star Wars stuff before we finish up at the end of this year.
Yep.
But to get us started, we thought we'd go to The Force Awakens.
The Force
from
Awakens.
15?
15. Shit. I love the 2000 and shit.
Might be the most recent movie we've done, Nick.
No.
Aside from Avengers Infinity War.
Really?
Oh, we did The Christmas Prince, and we did that like the day it came out.
Prince,
that will forever be the most recent film we did.
Fucking
God,
2015, Force Awakens.
The Force Awakens, Star Wars Episode 7.
That is.
2015. So we're going to be basically kind of exploring this new trilogy and how it kicked off.
What we liked about it, what we didn't.
Yeah, I'm sure there's going to be lots to talk about, Nick.
This is going to be fun.
And I'm excited to actually watch it again because it's been a little while.
I know.
Yeah.
I've only watched it twice.
I've seen it 3 times.
Right.
It's the only film I've seen twice in the cinemas in, I think, the last maybe 20 years of my life.
Sorry, the what?
I never go to see movies twice at the cinema.
And this was one of them?
And this is the only one in probably the last 20 years of my life. Yeah, that I went and saw it twice.
I was talking about this. Someone said to me, what was the movie you've seen the most at the cinema? And mine was The Dark Knight. I saw it 5 times.
That's wild to me.
Yeah. 5 times.
Wild.
Yeah. I saw it 3 times. I saw it a lot. Fucking hilarious.
So here we are next week, Nick. Force Awakens. I'm looking forward to it. We'll see you all then.
Bye, dude. Bye, Tys.
Bye.